Hey, good evening. How you doing? This is Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House over in Japan. I hope you're good. I hope you're genki. I hope you're ready for a bit of a Cockney English, covering a great movie. It's not even that old, but what would you say? 1998. So yeah, it's going to be 25 years this year. No way. It is quite old, isn't it? It's not as old as me though. Just say that. But to help me with this review, with this discussion, I have a good friend coming back on the channel. I think it's the second week running. We discussed Dragon Slayer last week. So let me bring in Blair to Blair. He's here to talk about Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. How you doing, Blair?
Hey, thanks for having me back. 2 weeks in a row.
I know, this is awesome. We're starting a thing, aren't we?
25 years. It's a classic now.
That surprised me when I was checking. I knew it was a 90s movie. It's 1998, so yeah. I can't remember where I first saw it, but you were telling me in the studio before it went live. Where did you first see this film?
I was living in Madison, Wisconsin at the time, and I saw it at kind of like an art theater. This in America, where I lived, it didn't have a major release in the like multiplexes and stuff. So the art house, the independent movie theaters would play it. So that's where I saw it. So I think it was a perfect setting for it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it sounds like it. And I was curious to know, did they show the movie with English subtitles as well for the American audience or not?
I can't remember if they did or not. They may have done that in certain scenes, but I know most of it. No, it wasn't.
How did you find the language? Because this is set in the southern area, the south of England. It's London, isn't it? Based in London. So you've got the Cockney accent, but not all of them. You've also got a Liverpool accent in there. You've got some very interesting English, shall we say.
I was able to follow it. I liked, I was, like I mentioned, I was an Anglophile. So I watched a lot of British TV, British movies and such. That helped. But even some of it, I couldn't understand what the northern guys were saying. The Liverpoolian guys. I was even some of the English people were looking at each other like, "What the fuck did he say? What And then they had to like slowly say it, but it was funny as hell.
It's funny for me too hearing that because I was telling you I'm from Manchester. It's northwest, and Liverpool is very close. It's about 45 minutes down the motorway, but they have a very strong accent. It's very different, I would say, and it depends whereabouts in the city. But sometimes you're like, what are they talking about, Blair? I can't understand a word they're saying. It's like that.
I love that's part of the charm of it too. It's totally British. It's not American whatsoever.
Yeah, a British kind of gangster movie, a British crime caper, a bit of a comedy as well, black humour, very stylish. But let me just shout out, you reminded me, Blair, shout out the chat. We've got angry Canadians here, great to see you. Lady Balefire, just got home from work, good to see you too, that's awesome. Yeah, Stephen, hey Stephen Ransom in the chat. Are you good, man? Are you genki? Do you like this movie, Stephen? Also, Tony Nasser, how are you, man? Good to see you. Great. Hail your barmy. Okay. Well, the gang's all here apart from Salty. I was hoping Salty, Travelling Sea, might be joining us. Maybe he will later, Blair, but I think we've got Zaxx coming in later on, so looking forward to that. Okay, just give a very quick intro to the movie. Let me just check Wikipedia. I know, so lazy, I know. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels is a 1998 black comedy crime film written and directed by Guy Ritchie. Produced by Matthew Vaughn, Blair, which I'd forgotten that side of it. Matthew Vaughn. Good director. It stars an ensemble cast including Jason Flemyng, Dexter Fletcher, Nick Moran, Steve Mackintosh, Sting, and Vinnie Jones. Also, Jason Statham in the feature film debut.
Yeah, this is his first movie. I think it's Guy Ritchie's first directorial, or the first one we knew in America anyway.
First major release. I think he'd done a short film or maybe a few short, whatever, like that kind of thing. But this is his first proper, as far as I know, theatrical release. And it was made for, very low budget, but it did pretty well. Even internationally, it did pretty well.
Yeah, it made some money. They didn't want to release it in America at first, but
oh really?
Steen's wife, Trudy Styler, she reached out to Tom Cruise. Okay. And Tom Cruise got a filming executives. So when they were watching it, he came to watch it with them, And then when he left, he said, "This is my favorite movie so far of the year. If you don't buy it, you're fucking fools." And
Ooh.
that's how it got in America. Otherwise, we never would have seen it except some special bootleg or video thing.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you might stumble upon it, in a video shop, a rental store. But Steve Ransom saying that this is a part of the brief period, probably kicked off the brief period of UK gangster flicks, which was a bunch of fun. And Blair, I was asking you before we started, how do you find it seeing a British gangster or crime caper compared to the regular American ones?
I love it. I love the humor. The violence is, over the top.
Oh yeah,
in certain areas, but still shocking for them. It's very, very witty, very chatty. And there's a lot of posturing and such. But you can tell, like, these guys are scared to death of the main villain too. It's not like they're smart enough. They don't think they're hard ass enough to go after Hatchet Harry. They're very scared and leery of him. They don't want to have anything to do with this. They're kind of pushed into it. But yeah, I really enjoy the humor and the feel of a British movie versus an American.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, it probably makes a nice change. It's like similar for me watching a Japanese yakuza, mafia, no, not mafia, a Japanese yakuza gangster film. I love seeing those because it's so different to what we have in the UK. Great to see Zaxx as well. He's here for Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Males. Is this the right place? That's awesome. And Stephen Ransom saying the street slang is the best part. The dialogue, it's so on point. I agree.
Yes.
Some great, and I was telling Blair before we started that I don't know a lot of Cockney rhyming slang. There's a lot that goes over my head too, but it's just, it's well written. It's like, it sounds like how people talk, or even though it's 25 years old, it sounds like street language, Blair, which I enjoyed. But you also got a bit of a mix with the, how do they describe them? The posh, the toffs who have the cannabis plant, whatever it is, the cannabis thing. They're a bunch of posh people.
Yeah, they definitely are out of their element there. And then you got the street level thugs, you got those guys, you got the people from Liverpool, you have other people who speak more normally but know the slang. Yeah, it's all over the place there, which makes it great.
It does. I'm just trying to get a picture to share. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Main cast. I know I need to get a new mouse. This mouse is my old one because my quiet mouse broke, so I've got a clicky mouse at the moment, guys. Sorry about that. So we have here the main four guys. Do you remember the names, Blair? This is not a test because I'm just pulling it up on Wikipedia, but do you remember the characters?
I know the bald guy, that's Jason Statham. He's Bacon. The guy next to him with the tie is Soap.
Oh, good.
The tall guy standing, I think his name is JD. And I can't remember the guy's name, Flemyng's character's name right now.
Okay, just having a quick check. It's Jason Flemyng is Tom, and Nick Moran, the one who does the card game, the gambler, he's Eddie. So we got Eddie, Tom, Soap and Bacon, the main four there. That's cool. But I tell you what, basically, we're talking about it's a crime caper, but it all starts out with a card game, doesn't it? You've got Eddie, Nick Moran's character. He wants to get in on, is it Harry the Hatchet? Hatchet Harry's kind of quiet, secretive, big stakes, 3-card brag gambling game. So that's how we all begin. Where are we? Clarity's imminent. So go for it, Blair.
Yeah, and the setup is funny because they're like in the middle of a boxing ring. Because none of these people trust any of these people. So everybody's like watching everybody. But then somebody does, you'll see later how they get it over them, and the hijinks begin.
So the four friends here, they're raising is it 100,000 British pounds to get in the game. That's what it costs, I think, to have a stake in the game. Is that right? 150,000 pounds buy-in. That's right. That's it. And were you familiar? Do you know Three Card Brag? Because that's something we used to play in college. Not for money, of course, but just like pretending for money. Three Card Brag is I can't remember the rules that well, but it's a weird game. It's an old British game. It goes back years when I was looking into it.
Nobody in my family played that one.
No. Where are we? Three Card Brag. It says here very briefly. Just read a bit from Wiki again. It's an 18th century British card game and the British national representative of vying or bluffing family of gambling games, descendant of the Elizabethan game of Primero. No way. That's it. No idea what the rules are. I can't remember. So, yeah. Out of these four main characters, Blair, who do you think who kind of stands out, or who would you say not steals the film but gives the best performance or performances?
Oh, God, it's hard. They're all just good. So Eddie's the main, kind of like the main character you follow.
Yeah,
he's the he's the gambler, so he kicks it off. Bacon, I really like Soap because he's kind of like the smallest one in the group. But he talks the most shit. He's probably like the most violent of the group, I believe. He's my favorite. Okay.
I think me too. Out of those four, he does bring a really good performance. Jason Statham, he's excellent in it. Nick Moran was kind of getting a lot of plaudits at the time. For people who are watching, Nick Moran's the one on the very left with the Heineken beer bottle in front of him. He's Eddie. So he and Jason Statham kind of not stole the movie, but they stood out. But we also have Blair in his film debut, not just Jason Statham, but there's a Premier League British football player named Vinnie Jones. Mm-hmm. Had you heard of him before this movie?
I think I had. Even here in America, they would show pictures of him beating people up on the field, doing his headbutts.
Really? No way.
That was the only thing you knew about the guy was he was a total bastard.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was funny because the day he started filming, he got out of jail for doing something. So, Blair chooses violence, yes. Hey,
Flaccid. Hey, good to see you, Flaccid. And you're balmy. Awesome one as well. Yo, yeah, Blair. Blair chooses violence. But look at this face. I'm going back to Vinnie. Vinnie Jones. He was a footballer, as we say, professional footballer. But he admitted it as well. He wasn't the greatest player, but he was a really good defender. He was a strong, brutal player. He wouldn't let you go, get past him. He'd bring you down, rather than let you go past. And there's a famous old kind of, what's the word? Not tiff, but he has a famous photograph of him with a young kind of star player at the time, Blair, a player called Paul Gascoigne. Not that famous, but he was playing for Newcastle and he was very young. And when he played against Vinnie Jones, Vinnie basically said to him, "Okay, mate, I've seen you. You are not playing in this game. I'm going to mark you out of this game." And there's a classic scene. I'm going to share a video in a second of what he does to this young player on the pitch. Should we do it? Should we share it? Let's take a risk.
Yes.
Let's do it. This is an interview with Paul Gascoigne, the young player, and he's got a very strong Newcastle accent, so you might not be able to catch it. Chat. Share the audio, just make sure. Yeah, here we go. This is just the highlight of it. Where are we?
He started backing up on us, so I sort of gave him a push, and that's when he squeezed me balls.
It's a classic scene. There's so many photos of this. He's just like, he didn't like kick him out of the game. He was just marking him really strictly, so he couldn't play very well. He didn't do well. Then at one point, he just grabbed his balls. That was it. Jesus. Poor Paul. Poor Gascoigne.
He was perfect for this movie because he was still young looking. He's brand new to American audiences, and I think acting wise for the British public too. But, he brought a certain level of violence. You could definitely see this guy being an enforcer for a gangster,
Absolutely. I think he's got a great face. Really, what do you call it? Yeah, a villainous looking face. And it was after this that he got in, was it the first Fast and the Furious movie? I can't even remember. No, Gone in 60 Seconds, sorry. I remember reading that. He didn't say a word in that till right at the end. And I think Nicolas Cage's character's like, "I didn't know you were from the UK."
Right. He didn't say a word until the end. He was in was it Mission Impossible? No, Swordfish, maybe.
Ah, I think so. Yeah, I've forgotten about that one. Nice one.
But yeah, he went on, and then he was in the other Guy Ritchie movie. It wasn't Snatch. It was God, what was it? The guys from America came over. Maybe it was Snatch.
I can't remember. I guess he does play a role in Snatch. It's been so long since I've seen that, but watching Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Blair, has made me want to rewatch Snatch as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a Guy Ritchie binge too.
Yeah. So, come back to the movie. We've talked about this as well. People saying one of the criticisms it's all style over substance. It just looks good and it's the snappy dialogue. Is there a good film underneath all that? Is there a good story there? What do you reckon?
I do. I think that I like the snappy dialogue. I like the look they have. Like we were talking this before, the picture of the four main characters. You see,
Don't talk about rock and roll, do we, Blair?
I know. They have a look. They have some presence. They feel like they're dressing up a little bit. They're not quite peacocks, but you could definitely tell these guys would never just slouch around in ripped jeans and t-shirts and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. That's great. And that's kind of like the style of it was like, they're lads. These are lad movies. These are guy movies doing dumb guy shit, get involved in capers and doing this kind of stuff. And they look good. And I think that's kind of like his signature look was this. And I have no problem with it. It's not just window dressing. There is a story underneath of it. And I really enjoy it. And then this just makes it look better. So
I agree. It was the rewatch that reminded me of not just it's a very complicated plot, basically, isn't it? You got kind of 2 or 3 different heists going on at the same time, and it's almost a series of crazy coincidences, and by accident things happen a lot of the time, which is good. They're not like they don't act like they know what they're doing. They kind of think they are, but a lot of it's blag, isn't it? They're kind of blagging that they know what they're doing, and I like that about it.
Yeah, like we talked before backstage, how this is different from like an American gangster movie or a crime movie. These guys are not hard-ass criminals. They're kind of like borderline thieves, dodgy people, I guess you call them, or shady. But when they come up against a real hard-ass, they're scared of the person, They know better than try to take on Hatchet Harry and, Big Chris. They're scared shitless of these people. They're kind of put in situations where they have to do stuff that they never would do any other way, which I think adds more to it. These aren't, ultra violent special forces criminals. These are just basically morons, for lack of a better word, that, way out of their depth.
That's it, way out of the depth, and you really kind of relate to that. That makes it more relatable. The fact that a lot of it is, they're blagging it, they're pretending they know what they're doing. So going back to the main villain is Hatchet Harry, isn't he? In this, he's the one who sets up or has this kind of private card game that Nick Moran's character Eddie once buys into. But I don't know. We could do spoilers, can't we, Blair? Like mild spoilers, because this is like 25 years old.
25, yeah, if you haven't seen it by now, spoiler alert. Things do not go well in the card game.
He's a very good card player, isn't he? And he's doing well at one point, but they've got him basically under observation there. He's being secretly filmed. They can see his cards.
Yeah, they're in a boxing ring, and one of the turnbuckles has a small camera in it right behind him. So they're able to see his cards because he's actually winning. He's about to win.
Yeah.
They see his cards. Hatchet Harry's Barry the Baptist guy sees it and relays the message to Harry, and they're able to he loses. He fucking loses everything, and he is so screwed because now he's in debt to the main mob guy in East London who actually does kill people.
Yeah. What's it? He ends up betting. The stakes go up to it's 500,000. It's £500,000, which is a lot of money. Even back then, it was still a lot of money.
And they want his dad's bar.
Yeah.
The main gangster. That was, I guess, the bet was that his dad's gonna have to sell the bar to save his son. And when you meet his dad's Steen, by the way, his dad's like, "Fuck no, I'm not selling my bar. You screwed up. You figured out how to get out of this.
You got to dig yourself out of this mess, son." And how funny to see Sting again. I'd forgotten he was in this because he's only in it a little bit, but he plays the main character, Eddie. Here he plays his dad. What did you think about him in this, Sting?
It was great seeing him back on screen, and in this one, he's an older gentleman. You know, he has very short hair. He, like you say, he's hardly in it at all. But when he's in it, he definitely has a presence. And, you know, like his son is basically telling him what's going on. And he has the attitude of, well, it sucks to be you. he's not gonna sell, you know, he's not gonna sell his bar to save his kid. It's basically like, well, you know, good luck, you know.
Great band, the police.
Oh, and the barman, the bartender for the bar is Donnie John Jules. I think that's how you say his name. He was in oh God, what's it? Red Dwarf. He played Cat.
Oh my God, was that Danny John Jules?
Yes,
I realised, of course it was.
Barely in it, but when he saw him, I'm like, yes, because I loved Red Dwarf. So
the cat from Red Dwarf, Blair. I forgot. Yeah, you watched that. You know it as well. Ow. No way, man. I've got to have to rewatch it now as well. But yeah, here's Sting in the car. So he's playing Eddie's dad, Nick Moran's character's dad, and he's you know, you don't get the like, oh, don't worry, son. I'll help you. I'm going to take care of it. It's like, no, mate, you're on your own. You sort it out. I like that approach by his dad.
Very, very tough love. Very,
very tough.
I built everything to get that bar. There's no way I'm selling it for your ass. You know.
Pretty harsh, yeah. So, of course, Eddie needs to get his friends to help. And how is it exactly it happens? There's a weird setup, isn't there, Blair, where they live, or one of them lives, they're sharing a flat. And the flat next door, there's a kind of small criminal band in there who are making a plan for a heist or something. And they overhear it through the wall. It's like, what?
Yeah, because the walls are so thin, paper thin. They hear this crew next door talking about a major heist they're planning, so they're planning to heist the heist, you know, and then that's how it gets even worse.
Heists on heists. It's like you just know it's gonna end in tears, or it's just gonna get worse and worse as it goes on. But that's what makes it compelling, isn't it, Blair? This is what pulls you in. You know, how are they gonna get out of this? And it's like, no, it's getting worse. Yeah,
it gets way worse. I mean, you rob somebody, you just rob somebody. They're not gonna take it lightly. So, you know, it's like you're stealing from a less dangerous person to pay a more dangerous person, but yet you got these dangerous people, then you get more dangerous people involved because the people they rob have backup too. I mean, it's like insanity, which makes the ending scenes just so incredible. How it comes together. You start hearing that music, that like mandolin, you know, it's like gearing up. You know, everybody's showing up with, you know, basically a small armory for London. I think every gun in the country must have been in that one city block because all these different crews and gangs are getting ready to fight, and they have no idea what's going on. Everybody's walking into basically a blind gunfight and have no idea. So when it pops off, it is hilarious. Oh, there he is, Barry the Baptist.
So this is Barry, Barry the Baptist. He's kind of... is he working for Hatchet Harry?
Yeah, he's his main man. He's his right-hand man. And he has a bulldog of a voice. I mean, it is... You know, when he talks, you barely can understand him, but he is really gruff. And he was dying in this movie. He had no idea. He died a month after filming.
Oh, you're serious? I didn't know that.
He had cancer and didn't know it. And it got into his body and... But he was like a boxer, professional boxer, and he was like a hard ass bouncer guy too in England and London. So even though he's an older gentleman, he was the kind of person that beat the shit out of you if you got out of line at the club.
But sorry, I'll be right back. I think the bell just went up a little bit 2 ticks. While I disappear, I'll drop a quick clip.
Go ahead.
2 large gins, 2 pints of cider. I've sent a cider.
If my father was loaded, I'd ask him for some money.
Your father's my father, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, that's...
Chin chin.
I haven't seen that yet. I've got to see that. I know he keeps playing. Oh, there he is. Amazon. Japanese Amazon.
Thanks, mate. Sorry about that. Yeah, it
No
was
problem.
delivery.
No problem.
Your Barmy said, did you read that? Love the dance in the background. I tried to get it where, you know, you're not seeing too much, but I had to be careful.
YouTube, bunch of prudes.
Let's check. Oh, yeah, we're still monetized at the moment anyway, so...
Yeah.
Great shot. So, yeah, so we've got Barry the Baptist. Let me bring in the next photo. I want to bring in 2 people that he hires to pull another job. There's a kind of there's a second plot thread, isn't there, Blair, where they're after a pair of antique shotguns. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They see him in a... Instead of Sotheby's, they call it Boothby's. It's like a play on the auction house in England, Sotheby's. And they got these 2 antique shotguns that are like this beautiful... And they're super expensive. I think they're worth like $250,000. No, I think it's £2 million at the time, $2.5 million.
Well, right at the end, we see the price, don't we? It was 250 to 300,000. So
a piece,
so $250,000. It's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was these these guys. Their job is to steal the shotguns.
It's a crazy, crazy scene, and these are 2. We call them Scousers, so people from Liverpool, and the one on the right with the curly hair, the perm. It's a stereotypical kind of piss take of, you know, what a Chad Scouser kind of looks like. But man, their accents, Blair, you were saying like you couldn't really catch what they were saying. It's very strong Scouse accent.
Yeah, it's like almost a whole other language in England.
Yeah.
And there did a couple of times where the English people are like looking at each other like, what the fuck did he say? I don't know. Just go fuck up and go get him, you know, something like that. Yeah, right.
That's it. That does happen, you know. It's like even because in the UK we've got different areas, we've got different accents, of course, probably the same as the States. But even though we're a small island, you've got someone from Liverpool talking to someone from, say, a Cockney from down in London. They'll be like, you know, what are you talking about? I can't understand half the words you're saying, mate.
Doesn't the guy look like he is kind of like an Oasis ripoff? As I always thought when I saw, they're taking the piss out of them guys because.
I never thought about that. Yeah, the one on the left with the shorter hair. It's his coat. It's the way he's dressed, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they wear their northern raincoat things down
That's
in
it.
London.
You got your Barmy is also just saying the same thing. I'm pretty good with the English slang, but this movie is serious. Yeah. My Fair Lady, says Stephen Ransom, Rex Harrison. Laughing. One of my favourites, Blair, is Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. His Cockney accent is fantastic. But hey, I can't do one either, so, you know, fair play, mate, for trying.
I like to apologize on behalf of everybody in America for that. Because that's, you know, when Americans do shit like that, that gets stuck in our head, and then we all imitate that. But when Zaxx comes in, I got a question for you guys about accents.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. You said that you were looking into a little bit of the rhyming slang, the Cockney, you know, the talk, some of the things.
Yeah. What was it? Bubble and squeak equal Greek.
The bubble and squeak, yeah. Apples and pears up the stairs. There's all sorts of... Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe Stephen Ransom knows some. Stephen, if you know some, drop some in the chat.
There's a character in this called the Greek. He's a fence for all these people. And he meets Rory, like an African gangster.
Yeah.
And Rory just takes a piss on him and calls it Bubble and Squeak. And, you know, he gets kind of a funny accent too. But yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. All the shady ass people you meet.
It's good to see in a way because, you know, there are some good like British crime thrillers being made over the years. There's a classic Michael Caine, Get Carter, which I think Sylvester Stallone remade that, didn't he? But if you ever get a chance to see that, it's a really good like working class style gangster flick. I can't think of any off the top of my head at the moment. You get stream brain, but it's good to see this, like Blair, because people have this kind of impression that a lot of British movies, you see the period pieces, don't you, with the posh speaking, well spoken toffs and that kind of thing.
Dickinson type of stuff, but then like when you see like a contemporary movie where it's Prime Suspect. You remember that TV series?
Oh yeah, great TV series.
That was really good, and stuff like that. That's his mask. That's his.
This is so funny. It's such a stupid scene. So, like Blair was talking about it, they get hired to do a job. They're going to go and rob an old manor house where they've got these 2 antique shotguns that they're after. Yeah, and this is what happens to the stereotypical Scouser. He gets shot in the hair. It's a crazy scene. And that's his mask, his like disguise. He's got a mask over his nose.
They were gonna wear pantyhose, and for some reason he didn't have a whole pantyhose, or he couldn't get over his head, so he just put that over his little nose like a little domino mask, but for his
So funny. Steven's talking about Barney. That bit in Ocean's 11, the name means turn to rubble. That's all I got. A Barney Rubble. Yeah, awesome one. So, okay, where are we? Let's see. I'm kind of trying to remember what happens next because there is a lot going on. Let me just stop sharing this. So, there's a side plot as well, Blair, with there's a kind of a posh, not gangster, there's a posh crime group, aren't there? And they're basically growing marijuana, they're growing dope, and they're selling that, and they've got a load of that. They've got money as well because from deals. And there's a plot where the main gang want to rob this gang, or is it? I lose track. There's like 3 different gangs in this, yeah.
Yeah, like 3 or 4. So the card shark guy who screws up, he lives next door to some people like this. One of the gangs, and the walls are super thin. They actually do like one of those things where I think they go between the walls, and literally the wall is like that thin. So they're able to hear everything they say. They're a bunch of hard asses, and they've got the line on a group of a couple of toffee nose kids who are selling a shit ton of weed. I mean, like lots of weed and they know when the money is. They collect all the money, and then the main gang, the African gang that they work for, comes and collects it. But it's almost like robbing a bank at a certain point. So these people show up with machine guns, I mean, everything. And they get into the main area, and it turns out it's a metal cage. You walk into a metal cage, a man trap.
Yeah.
So you can't get into them. Well, they show up, and they're starting to cut their way through. These 2 gets show up, Winston and Jay. They start shooting at him with a pellet gun. And one guy gets hit in the ear, and they're like, "What? Did you shoot me with an air rifle?" I got a fucking machine gun here. And you're shooting me. Ow! Stop! These 2 guys are trying to defend themselves because they know they're going to get in trouble if they don't at least try to do something.
Yeah.
And they get in. I think they rough them up pretty good for shooting at him. But the craziest thing is they have a girl in there who is so baked. She's dressed up like a hippie chick, homeless hippie chick. She's in a chair. Hey, Zaxx. And
go on.
Nobody knows she's there. You think she's dead. And they put the machine gun down. There it is, right there. She stands up with that big ass fucking gun, and it goes slow motion. This thing's like, big shells are ejecting. There's flame coming out of that thing. She's just like blowing the whole house up. People are jumping and diving. There's one scene where this one guy's like,
slow motion.
She misses everybody, but she's just like standing there out of bullets. And the main guy is just like, okay, we're all alive. Okay. He walks up and just dead punches her in the face. He's like, that's it. Fuck it. We're out of here. Get the money. We're done with these people. but that's how they do crime. It's not slick. It's not, in and out. It's basically an organized clusterfuck. That it's a miracle these people are able to steal anything in this movie, but
Exactly.
they do. And then that comes down with so the 2 toffee guys report to a guy named Rory, who's apparently this crazy black African gangster, and now he can't handle it that his people have been robbed. So now he's going to war. Meanwhile, our card shark crew, the gambling crew, they're going to rob these guys who just robbed these guys because they need money to pay Harry the Hatchet.
Yeah.
You know, so there's like, 4 crews running around East London robbing people and themselves to pay like one guy back. Yeah, that's it. That's a Bren. Yeah.
A Bren light machine gun, and it's unbelievable. It's huge, but it's a great scene, and I love when it goes slow motion. You just see, like, I don't know how she held it.
Oh, I know.
She's been asleep, like, in the whole movie. She's been kind of sleeping through the movie on a sofa and a couch, like, stoned out of her mind, and then she just kind of stands up, grabs the gun, and it's a great scene. Great description, Blair, and great to see Zaxx here.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey. Yeah, it's funny because the two guys in they have the air rifle, and they're a couple of pussies. Meanwhile, she stands up and she's taking care of business. And look at her face. It says it all.
She's a girl boss before we had girl bosses, huh?
Exactly.
This is 1998, so
25 years ago.
ahead of her time.
Zaxx, can I get your when did you first see this movie, or how did you get to know about it?
In 98, I saw it when it first came out in the theaters.
Cool.
Over here. So we were, I was in university, and we all went, like, we would all go to anything that sounded like a cool movie together. So this was one that was like, it sounded like it would be a cool movie to go see, and a cool movie to tell people you went to see, because it was a smaller British film. I think it was maybe was it his first film or his second film? Guy Ritchie was early, before Snatch, right?
Yeah, this is, I think, his first American movie.
Okay.
Its first theatrical release, I think.
Hey, Dempsey, how you doing?
So it was like a thing where you try to hear about the cool movies before anyone else does at the time, because there wasn't like internet was like a thing, but like not like it is now. And so you were on forums or message boards or whatever, you'd hear about these things coming over, and so we'd find about it that way. And I saw it in the theaters and really liked it. It was really cool. The tone was different from anything else that I would have seen around that time, because it had that Guy Ritchie, which I thought was also like a British thing, but it was mostly seems like mostly a Guy Ritchie thing before Madonna got involved. And
Yeah.
just so different and fresh and fun, and that there was always that, it was tense, but there was always that tone of humor, and and it brought like Vinnie Jones, who you guys talked about already, but who's he's just got the meanest mug of all time. You put him on the screen and he intimidates anyone. And I saw the Gascoigne clip. I've seen that before. He was a bit of an asshole, and
it's so famous in the UK. I can't believe you guys heard about it. That's cool.
And he got this kind of put him on the map, did it not, for acting?
Yep, this is his first acting role. And like I was telling Gray, he just got released from the police on his first day of shooting. So his first day of shooting, he shows up. He'd just been released by the police, and now he's playing a gangster in a movie. So,
I mean, easy casting. Did he ever really act, do you think, or is this just him all the time?
It's just him.
I think it's him.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about his relationship, the way with his son? I thought that was so cool. He's got a young son with him, and he's like scolding him when he curses.
Oh,
Chris.
yeah. That's that second level of like humor that he'd bring to his movies, where it's serious, and it's like, but at the same time he brings it back down to a level that doesn't belittle the characters involved in it at all, but it brings light to it in a way that, like, I think Marvel would like to be able to do now, or Disney would like to do, but they can't. So they make fun of their characters, and he doesn't do that. It's a bit tongue in cheek, and I liked it a lot of the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Blair was talking about Zaxx. I think Blair has a question for us, me and you. I'm a bit nervous about it, but we'll see how it goes.
So you're watching this, you're hearing all the lingo, the East Ender lingo. How long after this movie did you guys keep thinking about that in your head and actually talking like that? You say something, but then you say it like a Cockney, I was stuck for a while.
Oh, really? Did it had influence, yeah?
It did. I'd be like, thinking about something like, I'd start rhyming.
You tried the Cockney slang?
I tried.
Oh, you're
it
braver
was
man
shit.
than I. Yeah.
It was shit, but still, it really stuck with me the way they talked. So, yeah.
I know what you mean though. There was terms too. Like I didn't do the Cockney thing, but there was terms that were introduced through these gangster films of his that I think they came to North America through him, whether or not they were really things that people said in the UK or not. Things like a hard case. I had never heard that term used as somebody who was like a solid gangster, like a hard case. But that was one that did come across from this. I think that was his other movie too, maybe. But I never tried the Cockney slang, but Gray probably could pull it off, no sweat, with his language mastery, cunning linguist as he is.
Cunning linguist. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I wish. I can't, mate. I can't. It's like when I try and do an American accent. It's terrible. Even my Scottish one, I've lost that. My Scottish one, Zaxx, people were taking the mickey out of me trying to do Scotty from Star Trek on Nerporio Street before.
Gray, I still support your Scottish accent, and
Sean Connery is awesome. What's the saying they said? Bob's your uncle.
Mm.
You know that saying?
Bob's your uncle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that from this too?
I think so.
Could have
I
been.
said this to my family one night, and they looked at me like, "What?" I lost them all.
The slang, yeah, it was so long ago. I don't really, but some of it did stick, and this was like a whole genre that kind of came over in rapid succession because they've been a TV show, and then I think Snatch came out around shortly after that, and then eventually he married Madonna. But in the meantime, he brought over some really cool, fun gangster. And what stuck with me the most from this was how valuable a gun was in the UK, and how those two smoking barrels kept coming up as important in this story. The shotgun. Whereas in the US at the time, if you're watching American movies in '98, there's guns everywhere. Everyone's got they got their ARs, and you get Uzis, and this is like an antique shotgun, but it's valuable, and it's useful as a weapon still too over there.
Oh yeah. Did you ever see Lovejoy, that TV show?
I never watched it, but I know of it.
Yeah, Ian McShane.
Yeah, one of their shows had something like this. There were a couple of antique shotguns they're using to rob a bank robbery. They sawed them off and using a bank robbery. And the police don't like Lovejoy because he had criminal past. So they're trying to stick it to him because he's really going to do prison time for guns. He's like, listen, you morons. I steal shit that's valuable. These two shotguns, before they were sawed off, were worth $500,000. Now that they sawed them off, they're worth nothing. I'm not stupid. I may be a criminal, but I'm not a moron. Please don't, charge me with something that's stupid. But it was the same thing. The shotgun's really old, really valuable, and a key component about the whole story.
And this also got us going with Jason Statham kind of got introduced to us, I think, through this. And from that, we got a run of movies with Vinnie Jones too. There was Mean Machine. There was they were a soccer team from prison, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, it was like a remake of the Burt Reynolds thing, the prison football team.
Yes, yeah, but it was soccer /
Yeah,
that's right. That's
football
right.
With Vinnie Jones, Jason Statham.
Football. Footy. You're talking about footy, Zaxx. Oh, yeah,
talking
I know
about
that game.
footy, Gray. Yep, trying to. The Transporter came through after that too, and that was I see them. I know they're not, but it's a similar style with the quick cuts and the camera angles, and I lump them all together.
They all do have that feel. They came around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, all these British guys were in different kind of movies.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. Okay, I looked it up. Okay, Lock, Stock 98, Snatch 2000, Ghost of Mars, which I don't remember, 2001, Mean Machine 2001, Transporter 2002, Italian Job 2003.
Oh yeah, remake of that.
And then Collateral, and then Transporter too. Jason Statham had a string that started with this.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dempsey. Good night, mate. Take care.
Oh, good night, Dempsey. Yeah. So it's kind of bigger than just. It was bigger than just this one movie. It really introduced a lot of the world to a different style of film and different style of action here. Because Statham is not overwhelmingly. He's not an Arnold.
No, but he's total badass.
Yeah.
What was that movie? Crank.
Yeah.
That was over the top insanity. But
It's just crazy, but it's crazy fun. It's enjoyable, isn't it? Those kind of movies are.
I think so.
It's crazy, Zaxx. I mean, you talked about it, but to have Jason Statham and Vinnie Jones, not kind of the same level, but they both made their acting debuts with this movie. Apparently, you're saying Jason Statham used to be a diver, and Blair was saying when he was young, he used to sell like on a market, like in the opening scene in this. He was selling from a suitcase kind of thing.
Really?
mm-hmm.
And a diver? You said?
A diver, it said on Wiki. Yeah, how weird is that?
Have you seen pictures of him as a kid? His family moved all over the world, all over. He grew up in Asia.
Oh.
So he grew up like, flying airplanes as a kid and diving, and he's kind of like some like Jacques Cousteau type family, That's super cool.
I remember him getting all greased up, and I think it was in the transport. He gets all greased up and gets like bicycle. He gets like pedals strapped to his feet, and he uses them to so he's not sliding and everyone else he's fighting and sliding.
Yes.
Was that Transporter?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
I remember that now.
Different style of action, and that you didn't get before these films came over.
It says here, guys. Sorry, very briefly, it says that Statham began practicing Chinese martial arts, kickboxing, karate when he was a youth while he was still working at local market stalls. He was also a footballer and a diver. He was member of Britain's national diving team. No way.
Wow.
No idea. Sorry about that. Go for it.
Cool, yeah. Yeah, like you say, he wasn't like a Stallone or Schwarzenegger, big muscle guy. He was more scrappy, fighter, you like that type. Which is
tough.
A welcome change. Yeah.
Tough,
He was
and
a tough guy.
He could take a punch. He always acted like a tough guy, and he had some technique, and he made it look believable. He was always muscular. He just wasn't Arnold, where you're flinging around trucks and things like that.
And he also got his ass beat too, because his face would look like he got punched several times.
Yes, he looked like he'd been in a lot of bar fights in his life.
Yeah.
In real life. Great. Were you a footballer? You must have been a footballer.
Oh, no, unfortunately, I was crap. At football. 2 left feet, something. Yeah, I was really bad. I was always into the track and field. I was a middle distance runner.
Oh. Can we do that again and you lie to me?
Those long legs. Oh, yeah, we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Gray, you're a footballer growing up in your youth?
Yeah, I was. I used to play for Man United, but I was too good for the team. They had to get rid of me.
I could see that. Got to make room for Ronaldo somehow, right? Yeah.
Guys, you know what was interesting about them, going back to the actors? So you've got the main characters here. The one on the left, Nick Moran, he was kind of billed, he was going to be the one who would go places after this movie. Not Jason Statham or Jason Statham. God,
I don't think he did.
He didn't. He did a few things. I've seen quite a few things, but they're all kind of minor roles here and there. Quite a lot of TV. But Jason Statham just went for it. Do you think is that an international thing? Did he take off over in the States more than maybe over here? I'm not sure. Sorry, in the UK, not here.
I don't really recall much of him.
No.
I know Statham, and of course, and then the guy who played Soap was in Band of Brothers.
Yep.
That became big.
Yeah.
And then Flemyng, I've seen him in several things.
Yeah, me too. I forget.
What was it? Van Helsing. He played the Jekyll and Hyde character.
Yeah.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the terrible movie version of the great graphic novel by Alan Moore. Yeah, he played Hyde, didn't he, in that? Hyde.
Yeah, and then
his look is tough to translate to be a leading man. Like, he was probably never going to happen for that guy.
Yeah.
They hate gingers, first of all, but
Oh God, yeah. Ginger side is a real thing, Zaxx. Your Barmy saying, I remember for me it was Transporter that put him on the map. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I think so.
For me in Canada, like he was the one who people remembered from this movie. Him and Vinnie Jones, and they were the two. I think just because he looks like such a tough guy, and everyone else, like the whole group of them, are relatively soft compared to him, and so he's one of the guys that sticks out because he looks like a guy who'd be a bouncer. Like
that's it.
That's
it.
And he's got that feel and look to him that he could get into a fight easy. Or the
Yeah.
others would be mostly useless in a fight, but he'd be the one to watch out for.
Right, and he'd be the one who doesn't. He always comes across like he doesn't care if he gets hurt. So those are the guys you never want to fight. Vinnie Jones too. You don't want to fight a guy who doesn't care. He doesn't mind getting hurt. Like, you'd rather fight a guy who doesn't want to get hit. A bunch of softies,
DJ Roddy G saying a bunch of softies.
But
right.
Soap was the kind who'd take a meat cleaver to your back as soon as you had your back turned to him. If a fight broke out, he'd be that type. So,
Oh my God.
Stephen Ransom's got it. It's his brow. Yeah, and the chin. But he does have that heart, like almost like a, I don't know. I don't want to say Neanderthal, but he's got like that brow. You know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the same thing. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah. But he does. And he's got the jawline too. He just looks like he's a throwback.
Definitely, yeah. He's the one. He does stand out, and as you said, Zaxx and Vinnie Jones are the two main ones. So he put Guy Ritchie's name on the map, basically, didn't it? And as you say, he went on to much bigger things. But I don't know what happened with him and Madonna. What was he doing, mate? What was he thinking?
I think the little director was driving the chair there.
Oh God.
I mean, to be honest, he probably did okay financially off of that one. He probably gets spousal support, so there's that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He was a kept man and now can focus on his art.
Like a helmet, Stephen.
It is like a helmet.
Where are we? I'm trying to find a clip. I don't have a clip from this, unfortunately, guys. You know, I should have got it ready, but I have a very brief clip from one of my favourite movies, With Nail and I, with a little bit of a Cockney-sounding character. There's a guy in this. This is to set it up. It's a guy called Danny. Danny's a bit of a drug dealer in the '60s, but he's from London, and he puts on this weird accent. It's really cool. I love the way he talks. Check this out.
Danny, you're looking very beautiful, man. Have you been away? St. Peter preached the epistles to the apostles looking like that.
Great performance. Sorry, Zach. So Blair, I quit you off there. What were you saying? No? It was good?
No. But the Cockney accent thing, it's like that slang, the rhyming slang, I almost don't believe in it. Like, I'm sure it probably exists on some level, but people can't walk around like that. Think of the math you'd have to do in your head to figure out whatever people are saying to you. It's like a code language that, why would you bother needing to learn that?
I think that's what it was. It was developed to get around the cops. People in certain neighborhoods had certain word rhymes that only they would know, and then the police wouldn't, because they were all, in on whatever
Blair.
the little graft that they were doing.
You're right. Yeah. I'm sure you're right. There's other shows like Ripper Street, which I've watched, which I think that's kind of a part of that too. But that was a BBC series. But it is. You're right. It is part of that whole culture. The avoid the coppers culture. Getting beat with a billy club.
I don't think it's as common anymore. I think it's people still speak it, but I don't think it's like it used to be,
No, I mean, probably they're on Twitter, so.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Yeah, check your DMs. The Beatles made that accent popular and charming, those dirty boys. Stephen Ransom, yeah.
The Beatles were actually they weren't working class. They were, what do you call it? Especially Paul. Paul McCartney was from a pretty posh family. George Harrison too. Ringo, I'm not sure about. But John Lennon was maybe the most working class. So they don't have really strong Scouse, Liverpool accents. Like, if you're from Liverpool, you talk like this. Everything sounds a bit weird. I'm trying to find, I've just got a clip of Cockney rhyming slang. Shall I share it? A video.
Yes.
Let's have a listen. This is quite a funny channel. It's an English teaching channel, but the guy looks a little bit like Jason Statham, and he does this on purpose as part of this video. Just 1 second. Here we go. Learn the Cockney accent with Jason Statham.
Did you know that Cockney used to be a pejorative term for the working class? Yeah. Nonsense. It's the accent of a true Londoner. Who's a true Londoner? If you're thinking of that guy Mary Poppins, nonsense. That is an American imposter. He is not British. He is not a real Londoner.
I forgot to check if you did a share audio, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We hear it. Yep.
Let me know in the chat if you didn't. So yeah, he does look a bit like him. It's funny that he brings up Dick Van Dyke.
Like I sound great whenever Americans would hear something like Vic Van Dyke do a Cockney accent. That's what we thought it all sounded like. So,
We didn't know any better.
I know. We didn't have Guy Ritchie to show us the way.
No.
Now, if you're thinking of Michael Caine, he is a true Londoner. He's a Cockney and he's a legend. But how do you speak like a Cockney, you ask? Well, my son, there are a few rules to follow if you want to sound like a true Londoner. First one is that schwa sound my good friend Ali taught ya. That's the sound.
Okay, I'm kind of losing my my internet signal's gone a bit weird, guys. We're all okay, aren't we? It's sharing.
Yep.
Yeah. When it starts showing the bars on StreamYard and they go down to one, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Is it because I'm sharing YouTube as at the same time as live streaming? Never mind. But yeah, you get the idea. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's okay on our end, but that I forgot about Michael Caine, and I've seen him interviewed about that, talking about growing up with a Cockney accent and how you were looked down upon and treated differently for that. But I love the UK for you guys, how you managed to have all these different accents in such a
Tiny island.
Yeah.
It's tiny. It really is tiny. People don't realize how small England is.
Well, even in London, you have the East End, the Cockney, the East Ender, and then the West End, and then the Northern, and then the northern part of England, and that's just England. Then of course you got the Welsh and Scottish and everything else.
Well, even Manchester, Blair, where I'm from, depending on which side, east, west, north, or south, I'm quite well spoken. But you got like the Oasis. We talked about Oasis before. All right, mate, how's it going? They all talk like that. Proper scally accent for Manchester. Weird.
So Gray, did you grow up you grew up in Manchester, but did you move around a bit, or did you stay in one spot when you were growing up?
Moved around. Ooh, how did you know? Very good.
Just asking.
Yeah, but it was around Manchester, just different areas of Manchester. We moved 3 times. So, but I think my dad was a Scouser from Liverpool, but he didn't have a strong accent. My mum was from Manchester, so I got like kind of half and half. But I don't think they were well spoken. People used to take the piss out of me, Zaxx and Blair, when I moved to a new school. They all thought I was posh. I was like, I didn't even know. That moment when you think, shit, do I sound like a posh guy? I had no idea.
You do sound very posh.
You do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you sound very upper crust.
Thank you, darling. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. Lady Belfast saying, don't even get me started on Scottish accents. Okay.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, Lady B. I won't start on that. I can't do accents. So, but Gray can.
I think Blair can. I think Blair can do a Scottish one.
No, it would be shit. I'm not doing a Scottish accent. Although I did my ancestry DNA thing, I am apparently 51% Scottish. So,
I'm not surprised. You got the red in your beard. That says something. There's not a ton of gingers around, so
I got the Blair name too.
Blair has a kilt to prove it as well. If you put the kilt on, do you go Scottish then, Blair? Maybe.
Sometimes. Actually, when's St. Patrick's Day? It's coming up, isn't it?
March 17th.
I might wear it. They have a St. Patrick's Day parade they do town north of me. It's very nice. I wear it sometimes.
Okay.
Do you have you have a tartan and all that then too?
I do. I have my tartan. I don't have my family tartan. I have the Wisconsin has an official tartan I had made.
Oh, cool. Is it a badger?
No. Although, for the sporran in Wisconsin, they actually have badger head sporrans. That's a thing here.
I'm not surprised.
Oh my God. Badger heads.
Neds are.
Do you know what Neds are? I think I do. Do you get kicked in the Neds if you're a guy in Scotland? Oh. I can't remember, but maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm guessing. Does Blair know? What are Neds?
I think that's it.
It's a good guess. It's going to be something like that.
Yeah.
Neds. It's got to be one of your heads or eggs. It's something oval that's going to get kicked.
Oh my God, no way. The first one that came up was the Scottish equivalent of the English term chav. It refers stereotypically to low class, uneducated, raucous, antisocial youth.
Oh. So,
Failed, Zaxx. Failed.
We got that wrong.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, there it is. It's short for non-educated delinquents. White trash.
It's a white trash of Scotland, is it?
Is there other kinds of trash in Scotland? Is there brown trash? I don't know.
Oh, that's racist.
Ooh.
Is it? Why is that racist? I don't know.
Have to ask Critical Drinker. Find out.
A guy I used to know, he grew up in Scotland for a little while. He
Flaccid.
Flaccid, get over it. Come on.
He's a Vikings fan, so let it go. It's okay.
Yeah. He grew up in Scotland, and the crime was so bad. The kids are so fucking evil. If you're on a golf course, they had kids that come after you with knives and rob you on the golf course. And if you didn't pay up, they would, they had knives, they'd stab you.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, he said it was like insane. It was like nowhere was safe over there, It's
Really?
hilarious. And I've heard that too. Certain parts of Scotland are white trash hell.
Hopefully you can swing that golf club then.
Really?
Get the kids coming after you with your knives.
There's a little part in Train Spotting Part 2 that shows that, not the first one, the second one, Blair, where they end up having to perform in this where is it? This pub, this really strict, is it Catholic? I can't remember. And it's a Scottish pub, but they love the English for some reason. It's very, very rare. It's either Protestant or Catholic. Sorry, I can't remember. But yeah, have you guys seen that? Have you seen Train Spotting 2?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the sequel was actually really good, but I don't remember like the specifics of it. But I remember
it's better than I think it gets credit for, Zaxx, isn't it? It's not brilliant. I mean, how can you top the first one? But it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just looking this up now, and it was right around Trainspotting was 96, so it was just before this. So kind of, you guys are all the same over there. So,
especially as white guys.
Yeah, just a bunch of white guys with funny voices.
No, Lady B, you're good. Don't worry about it. That's cool. No, it's you've educated the panel. I had no idea. And that's what Neds were. Your barmy saying neats. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Is it neats? I'm scared to look now, Zaxx. Here we go.
Do it.
Do it. Oh, neeps. So neeps are a root vegetable and a baffling item of Scottish cuisine. There we go. No idea.
Isn't all of Scottish cuisine a bit baffling?
Yeah. Same as British cuisine. Oh God.
Well, dodgy,
Why is that, Gray?
I don't know. I have no idea. We used to have good, supposedly good food, hundreds of years ago. I think it's to do with the weather, the climate. We can't grow a lot of really good fresh fruit and vegetables. I mean, serious, yeah. So the quality of food has gone down. But I've heard it's to do with rationing after the wars as well.
Yeah,
part of it was
that's what I heard too.
Oh, really?
In World War I, a lot of these recipes were like very regional, local.
Okay.
And a lot of people who knew how to make them were killed in the wars.
Oh my God.
So they lost that knowledge. And then after the war, the rationing was from hell. They couldn't get spices and stuff to make their food edible. Ooh. So you basically got the bad rap of bad food.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's always the sun never set on the British Empire. So you think you'd have access to the best possible food and spices from all over the world, right? It was all yours at one point, Gray.
Well, that's why most of the best food nowadays is either Indian, Chinese, or where else. The restaurants are really popular.
They took
Seriously,
it back with them or what? Yeah.
Get a great curry, a great Pakistani or a great Indian curry in Manchester. There's a place called the Curry Mile. There's a whole mile of just curry shops, one after another. It's amazing. I miss that. Nice. I miss the British curry.
When I was in Spain recently, the Turkish food in southern Spain is so good. Like everything is you're thinking it's going to be, well, I don't know, whatever Spanish fish food would be, but it's so much good, like shawarma everywhere. It's very like, that's the dominant culture in the area, and that's like, you think of Europe as being Europe, but it's really a mishmash of a bunch of things. So
cool.
Yeah, Knights of Neat.
Meanwhile, Scotland, they're deep frying pizza for God's sakes.
They are?
Mars bars, deep fried Mars bars. What the hell's going on there?
What is blood pudding?
It's got blood in it. It's like a blood sausage.
Yeah, basically a blood sausage. Very strange dish. Very, very bitter taste to it, Zaxx. Can be good as part of the English breakfast, as a part of the fry-up, the big English fry-up for a hangover.
Oh, I've heard of a Portuguese breakfast, but that's a different thing entirely. Don't Google that one.
DJ, what did you say? It sounds like Klingon cuisine, the blood pudding. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, really, like blood wine. And
I think this explains a lot about why you moved and didn't come back.
Oh my God. I don't often miss the British food. I do miss the British beers sometimes, a nice ale, that kind of thing, or a pint of bitter, but I don't miss the food, surprisingly.
Blood
Flaccid
oatmeal.
Phoenix.
What's he saying? I'm scared
Shepherd's pie.
to highlight a comment from Flaccid.
Yeah, shepherd's pie. He picks the one food that is common across North America. And he's like, yeah, this is fine. So this is my point. Get out of here.
It can be nice if it's cooked well, though. If you put a lot of butter in the mashed potato, and you get some nice, proper fresh beef mince. Can be
those
good.
Welsh
Carrots.
things, those pasties.
Oh yeah, Cornish pasties. Or
Yeah.
They can be awesome. It's like
Then a
basically
place
like
Madison, Wisconsin had it was a Cornish place. It sold pasties. So it was like a breakfast and lunch place. You get this big pasty just filled with all the meat and potatoes and onions. It was so good.
Up here, a pasty is what a stripper puts on her nipples.
Yes.
Really?
And then she takes them off because we can do that up here.
Looking a bit pasty sounds like you're very pale to me in northwestern English. Like, look a bit pasty there, Gray. You all right? Okay, guys, we come to the end of the stream, I guess, unless you wanna chill for a bit. But we can wrap things up. Is it a good time to wrap things up?
Well,
Zaxx,
we didn't talk about the epic gun battle.
We didn't talk about the movie hardly at all. I fucked everything up as usual, Gray.
No, you didn't.
Just came in earlier and screwed it up.
At least you saw the movie this time. That's another one.
I've seen it a couple times. I haven't seen it in the last 10 years, but I have seen it a couple times. I own it somewhere.
So all these gangs get together, and they don't know it because each one's thinking they're getting one on the other. So they all show up, and one gang's wait for another smaller gang, but another bigger gang shows up and more armed. So everybody's all like, what? And then it fires off, and it's just nonstop bloodbath. They kill each other in the end. So our guys move in to steal the stuff. They get robbed by the one lone survivor. He crashes his car into Big Chris's car. Little Chris is in it. And then that's when he goes over the car, checks on our guys to make sure they're okay, then goes over, I think it's his dog, was that his name? The main guy, and then he just takes his head, puts it in the car door, and just starts slamming it, cursing him the entire time.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Which they stole that scene for Daredevil, didn't they? Netflix Daredevil. The Vincent, is it on Foray? It's like smashing that guy's head with a car door. Sorry,
That's right.
sorry about that.
You won't get that again from Disney.
No. Not touch my fucking son. He's like this crazy. He kills a guy. And then he goes inside, and that's when he finds out that the Scousers have killed the hatchet.
Yeah.
And Barry the Baptist actually kills one with a hatchet. They're all dead. Our guy's stealing the guns, and Big Chris comes in there and thinks that he killed everybody. So he's kind of backing off the guy because he's like aiming two big-ass shotguns at him. And then, and then he takes over Harry the Hatch's business, and then respectfully comes to them with the Sotheby's booklet saying, how do you put it? I come with all respect. I respect. Basically, he's respecting him and saying, here's my offering of peace. He shows him what the guns are worth. Because he knows his boss wanted him. And then that's the same time the one guy's trying to check him off the bridge because they think it's evidence and they're all going to all get caught. So even in the very end, even though they look like they've won,
right.
they're
Yes.
inept as hell.
I'd forgotten that scene, Blair and Zaxx. I'd forgotten that, Vinnie Jones walks in with the bag. It looks like it's still got a lot of money in it. It looks like it's kind of full of money. He drops it on the table. Okay, this is what I think you deserve. We're straight now. We're square. And he goes and they open it. It's empty apart from the Sotheby's book where they see the price of those two antique shotguns, which a different character is about to throw off the bridge into the river. He's like, oh no! And it ends.
They're desperately trying to call him. So he's on the bridge. He's like, what do I do? Because he tries to throw him off and he screws up. So now he's like half hanging out the bridge trying to kick him off into the Thames. Meanwhile, his phone going off. So what's going to happen? Is he going to answer the phone, save the guns, or are you going to kick the guns off the answer phone, then jump in the water, try to get the guns? Yeah. Yeah, these people are we're just not top level.
What did you think of that, by the way, Blair and Zaxx? If you remember the closing scene, because some people can get frustrated. It's like, oh no, they didn't tie it up. They didn't properly finish it. But I think it's on purpose. It leaves it up to you. You make the ending in your head, don't you? Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect because either he's gonna get the guns and get the money, or he's gonna check them in the water, get rid of the evidence. But then they're back to square. All this shit happens and back to square zero.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to own the guy money, but they're still out all this money. And all the money they stole, they stole from them. So it's like, Jesus.
I think that it was, I like the way they ended it and that you could decide what happened with it. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter how that part goes at the very, very end, because the point is that they were inept the whole time. And at the very end, they were inept, and maybe they'll pull it out of the fire again and get something out of it. But either way, the point is just to show how they continued to be. But they actually, they gained some respect by the end, and then they tried to make it into a TV show, which I don't really remember. I think I watched a little bit of it, but I don't know if it continued the story or not.
I don't remember it at all, Zaxx. I only found that out from reading Wiki. No idea.
Don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
Grey will never end. It's an awesome one. That's right. It's become kind of a thing of these streams, isn't it? I'll say, okay, we're kind of wrapping things up now, and then we go on for. It's like I might drop the link in the chat. If Stephen Ransom's interested and Flaccid, welcome to jump in.
Do you remember? Was it a couple months ago? We went for 3 hours. You tried to end the stream, and then people just kept showing up, and that's where the Megs with her flute, I think, came from. That story came from your stream, didn't it?
I thought it was great fun. That Blair was part of it, I'm sure, as well.
It was awesome.
And I got a bit of criticism from some people, shall we say, saying, oh, well, there was half of a good movie review and then it just went, But I thought, no, those kind of things are great fun.
What?
I'm doing it now, Zaxx. I'm dropping the link in the chat. There's no pressure, but you're welcome to pop in if you want to. I don't often do this anymore, but I've done it now. Guys, let me share. We didn't talk about the music. I'm going to share the screen. The soundtrack to this, there were some cracking songs. Just give me 1 sec. Won't be a minute. There we go. A lot of these I don't know, but I Want to Be Your Dog by the Stooges, that really stuck in my head.
Yeah, I remember that.
Great song. Fool's Gold by the Stone Roses, Blair. Fool's Gold plays in this. I'd forgotten that. Whoa.
I Want to Be Your Dog. That one.
James Brown. Yeah, they had that kind of that 60s soul thing.
It's a big mix, isn't it, of different kinds of genre there, different kinds of music, definitely.
Oh yeah, the Payback.
Oh yeah.
It's a soup with Trainspotting for me, the soundtrack stuff.
Oh god, Trainspotting's a cracker, in it. It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, with Iggy
That's one
Pop
of the greatest of all times.
Yep. Stephen Ransom.
What's up?
Stephen, how are you, man?
Good.
How's it going? Have you seen this movie recently?
I have not seen this movie recently. It's been probably decades since almost since it first came out.
Yeah.
There was so many other things going on. But I remember it being insane. And of course, Mr. Frankenstein monster guy, the dark-haired gangster man. I mean, he is like Frankenstein in every single movie he appears in. He's just the most dangerous character. Do not mess with this dude.
Yeah.
In Snatch in the restaurant, when he's just like, "You guys have got to be kidding me with this. You got to be kidding."
Yeah, that was
He's not acting. I think that's who he is, too. I think that's part of it.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
Is that the one who kept shooting the guy named Boris?
Yeah.
Don't take the piss, Boris. He shoots him. Are we done? Fuck you. Yeah, he just kept shooting the shit out of that guy. The guy just would not die. He just kept mouthing off the entire time.
What happened to Vinnie Jones?
Hey, he's still around.
Is he?
He would do less. Well, he was big there for a while, and then he started, taking. Well, he got older, and heavier, and I think he got into a few fights. Got his ass beat a few times too. I think he started mellowing out a little finally in his older age.
Oh, he's got a show called Vinnie Jones's Toughest Cops.
Uh-oh.
Vinnie Jones follows the police forces of some of the toughest and roughest cities in America. Huh.
God.
Ooh, I can see that field being a bit cringe of a show. Just a
Absolutely,
bit on the
yeah.
cringe side. Where it's like, these are the toughest guys I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
You went a bit Irish there, Steve. That was
good.
awesome.
Go to Chicago or St. Louis and hang out with those cops for a while. See the shit they got to deal with.
No thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure the cops are tough. I just don't see him pulling that off anymore. I don't know. It's kind of like the drill
Right.
sergeant guy from Full Metal Jacket. He just started getting older and older and older, and it's just like, oh, okay, man. I think you've run it out, man. I think you've run this as far as you can take it.
Yeah, you're not in your 20s and 30s and 40s anymore, buddy. You're 50, 60,
Yep.
Yeah, 80s. You're still trying to pull it off. He was already old, or he looked old, because he was so weathered in this movie.
Weathered face, definitely. He says here, guys, he was in Law and Order Organized Crime in 2021. 8 episodes. No way.
Good.
He's still working.
How old is he? Does it say?
Let's have a look. 1965, so 58.
Okay.
All right.
Not that old, but as you say, he's got that kind of face, hasn't he? Where he looks like he's had a hard life.
Yeah. He spent a lot of time defending in the rain.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, we were talking about the slang and stuff. I saw you in the chat as well. How do you find that, not just the Cockney accents, but all the different British accents? Do you enjoy watching movies with that in?
I do. There's something really crazy about that notion. I mean, in America, Blair, you could totally back me up on this. It's like every villain had a British accent, basically, in American television from 60s all the way on into the 90s. Yep. And then this gangster thing started happening, I guess because Hollywood must have been like, the Italian mob thing is so popular that we can now expand into other mafias. And, remember, we were also having a bit of an Irish craze during the mid to late 90s as well. And there's something about an accent. It's like they're speaking English, but they're not speaking English. And your brain just kind of does this is fun kind of thing.
Yeah, thanks to Riverdance, Irish stuff got big in America for a while.
Oh, Riverdance.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I believe that's what kicked it off.
But what was the one where they're soul singers? The
Commitments.
The Commitments.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That blew up. Nobody saw that coming. That was like Blair Witch exploding in their face. It was so big.
Yeah.
It got so big so fast. All of those people saw second careers after that movie.
Yes. Yeah, that came literally out of nowhere, and it became just a huge movie here. I love that movie. It's cool.
And that was part of when Hollywood was trying to implant themselves in the Irish marketplace as well. Like there was a lot of studio development for a very brief period of time, and then it all vanished around the same time that the EU got stabilized.
That was 1991, it says, the movie, based on the 1987 novel by Roddy Doyle. It was a great Irish writer.
Great name, too.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. There was an Irish thing going on in the 90s. I remember that now.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of studio development, a lot of filming going on there. TV, I think BBC got their hands involved as well, and it was interesting. It was hot in Ireland. I know people that were in Ireland that was saying, "Yeah, man, the money is just being like shoveled around." It was crazy.
Well,
so I would imagine the same thing happened with Scottish stuff. You know, with I mean, think about what was going on at that point in time with Mel Gibson and Train Spotting. And, you know, all of that was happening simultaneously. It was really big.
You're right, actually. That was a whole resurgence, or a surgence, I guess, in the 90s of all of that.
Well, you remember in the 80s, we had the big Australian thing because of Crocodile Dundee.
Right.
All of a sudden, you know, everybody was fucking Australian for about, 2 years.
The first one's cracking.
You know, I that movie never stood a chance. As great as that movie is, and I completely agree, I got desensitized to it because I was working in a movie theater, a single screen movie theater, by the way.
Oh no, Stephen!
And it was showing Crocodile Dundee for about 5 months. We memorized all the lines. We would say them to each other in the street, like whole scenes, like right up the top of our head. It was terrible. You
got burned out on it.
I'd
totally hate that movie too.
That does sound like torture.
Yeah.
Nothing but
such a good movie, though. Thank God it was that good. Otherwise, could you imagine a bad?
I wonder
movie
if that would work with any movie. You know, even like classics. If you had The Godfather play, if you're working in the theater, you know, it's playing all the time. Would you get sick of The Godfather or something like that?
Yeah, I think you would.
I don't know.
On loop, I think, is the problem. You know,
yeah,
because we deal with people for decades and decades and decades because they're diverse and continuously changing. But a movie,
one thing that never got big in America though was New Zealand. I mean, Hercules and Xena and all that stuff was filmed there, but never like a New Zealand culture thing even came over here really.
Yeah, that's true. We did see a lot of influx of people from those areas. I mean, what is it? Karen Black, who was in Farscape. I'm probably getting her name wrong. Claudia Black.
Oh.
Farscape, and then she was in like an emergency show or some sort of surfing beach like police
Water
officer.
Rats?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Before she became, part of the other thing. So,
yeah,
she came out of that, and of course, Xena and that the stunt woman that was on that show, of course, attached herself with Kill Bill, and made Uma Thurman the action hero that she became. So yeah, a lot of personalities came out of that zone.
But like not the culture, like Australian culture or Irish or whatever. Nothing. Everything was always filmed in New Zealand, but they never said they were in New Zealand. It was kind of this weird thing. I mean, like even Canadian culture came,
What was the one film that
Andy.
that Weta made about the 2 young ladies that were like that turned into murderers or something? It was
Peter
like
Jackson
Little
did that
Creatures.
movie.
Yeah,
Heavenly
Little
Creatures.
Heavenly Creatures. That
Heavenly
was
Creatures,
New Zealand
wow.
society, but that was like 50s, 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was like old. Wasn't like
Was
a
it?
modern culture.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
It took place.
Period, yes,
It took place in the 50s and
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah, it was
That's
a period piece.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird how.
Going back to Australia. Did you have you seen Picnic at Hanging Rock? You ever seen
No.
that?
heard
Peter
about
Weir, early movie by Peter Weir, who became very popular. He was an Australian director, wasn't he? A really cool story about, it's a period piece, but about some kind of crazy, not sure if it was a UFO incident, an abduction incident, or just some, weird, I don't know, spirit thing going on with a group of private school girls just got like attacked by something, or some crazy experience happened to them out of this weird rock called Hanging Rock.
What is it called? It's called Hanging Rock?
Picnic at Hanging Rock. Oh,
Picnic
Lady
at
B
Hanging
knows
Rock.
it. A really trippy movie. It is. It's Peter Weir. It's a weird kind of phase. Very atmospheric, slow, but just strange. And it's not explained. It's unexplained.
What year did it come out?
I'd have to check. I don't know.
Oh,
I remember Priscilla, Lady of the Desert.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one, too.
75.
Oh, my God,
Okay.
Stephen. Yeah, Zaxx. 75, man. Wow.
Australian movies in the 70s were fucking weird, period. Wasn't there one called Walkabout?
Oh, yes. Nicholas Rogue.
There was
Well,
the
even
Jingo Ate My Baby one too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I remember
And
that.
oddly enough, what's The Gods Must Be Crazy, which is a South African film.
Yeah.
But that's got a lot of these accents in there too, and that's what makes the movie a lot of fun. It's all the silliness, all the British, almost Benny Hill levels of silliness in that
Yep.
movie.
We should watch that movie. It's
That
been so
movie's
long.
great.
Is that movie allowed now? Do you think?
I don't know. I just don't even know, man. It's got Aboriginal people and like Coke sponsorship. And that's all. I don't
Really?
know how you get past all the nonsense. It's like so
That
insane.
Coke bottle, the pilot
Yes.
throws it out,
Uh,
and they pick it up and they think it's a tool from the devil, or the god sent it to punish them because they were like everybody's fighting all of a sudden. You know?
Oh, that's so brilliant when when they all discover that it's just a problem. Just get this bottle out of our tribal area.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Send
Throw it
them-
off the edge of the earth.
Yep.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't seen this.
Oh my God, Gray, you will totally love it. It's like, it's almost not tongue in cheek, Monty Python,
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
right?
sounds
It's like
great.
it's grounded,
Classic.
but it has this Monty Python-esque feel to it because it's got zanier and zanier.
Yeah. We got to show Gray a trailer.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to
Yes.
get Gray. I don't want to get his channel taken down. It's from 1980, guys.
I know. Man.
It seems like it's older because it's South African. You know, I don't want to say quality of it is a little sketchy, but
Well, yeah. I'm looking at a trailer right now. It does. Wow, this is not. I don't know if it's just that this is not a good version of the trailer, or it really looked that bad.
I think it looked at that because I remember watching it and it was very grainy and.
They made sequels, you guys.
Oh no!
1980 comedy film. No way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because of course they had to make sequels to that. Yeah, it was very, very low budget. I mean, ragtag crew with a few Jeeps and a couple of trucks, maybe, I think, just driving around South Africa.
Yeah.
Why
It's a
don't I
must
know about this film? That's what
Oh
I want to know.
my
You guys
goodness,
don't know.
Gray.
This is crazy.
You need to watch a trailer just to understand like how insane it is, because it's like a documentary when you're watching the Aboriginal guy with the Coke bottle.
And there's a
And then
voiceover
it's like
too.
a Benny Hill episode when you're looking at the British characters. It's like, what is this movie? It's so off the rails.
Zaxx, can you put it on your Discord?
Oh yeah. I could do that. That's a good idea, for sure.
We can have a movie night with The Guys Must Be Crazy.
Well, I could put the trailer on right now. You mean, or the whole movie?
Yeah, we can watch the whole movie, maybe, if you still do those.
I haven't done that in a long time, but we can definitely do that. Maybe not tonight, but
Oh, we're not doing that tonight. No. Plan in the future sometime.
I wonder if Gray would get canceled for showing this trailer.
But
Who's the theater? Or who's the owner?
I don't know. It says
Here we go.
the channel I've never heard. It's not a real channel. Like, it's not like a real company. I don't even know who made this. 20th Century Fox.
probably distribution, but who knows who actually. But I
Gray?
wouldn't put it past them. You
wanna? If we're near the end of the stream, you wanna?
As we all know, when something falls from the sky, it can only have come from the gods.
There it is, Gray.
Of course, the gods only send good and useful things.
Don't know what to do to play it or not. I definitely want to watch this now. This sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It looks very low budget. It looks very cheap, but as your Barmy
right.
saying that.
Yeah, it's like very. Sure, certainly isn't for 4K. It was even sketchy back then.
We try a little bit more.
However, this time they made a mistake. The gods must be crazy.
I think it's fine. Like, we can just clip it out later, Zaxx. It's the music more than anything, isn't it? The kind of background music that they're so good at finding it. It's so annoying. The bloody what do you call it? Algorithm.
Yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like essential for you. We should do it. Should do them, as Blair was saying, if you fancy it, doing a movie night or something one time.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't done it. I haven't watched that in so long. I want to watch it again.
I've never seen it, so yeah.
He's brilliant. That time period too. You think that this is happening at the same time as like Kentucky Fried Movie and Animal House, and like they would just keep throwing scripts at the wall, boys. We got to strike it rich sometime. Just keep going.
And they just want to be funny. That was it. The comedies were just supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, no message, just laughter. But like even like
messages.
But like even like Sock and Smoking Barrel, it gets close to being zany, but it just pulls it back enough.
Yeah.
And then the next movie, it goes full zany on some of the shit they do. Snatch is just incredible.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's in that, right?
Snatch. Is Snatch the better? Is it the better movie, would you say? Or do you think Lock, Stock is the first one, so it's still got that kind of original clout?
It has the original clout. Snatch is way more famous because of Brad Pitt.
Because of Brad Pitt.
It's cleaner. I mean, God, it's so polished. It's so obvious that he's like on top of his game. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's like no fat on that bone at all. None. And, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was probably exhausted just pitching it and getting it developed in the first place. I forget about filming it, right? I mean, he's fighting everybody tooth and nail. It's like, no, you can't. We're looking at your rushes, dude. You can't film it. You can't do this. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, they'll love it. They'll love it. And of course we did.
You see the budget for this? Lock, Stock.
I've seen that to
low.
It's gotta be bare bones.
Yeah, I would think so.
Not to review it next week, but I want to watch it, guys. I want to watch Snatch after seeing Lock, Stock. It's made me want to watch it like tonight. Really keen.
It's so good. And at all fairness to Brad Pitt, you want to talk about, he is known, and this is actually quoted in celebrity history. He's one of the most recognizable faces in the world, right? Like women just like recognize him like out of nowhere. And in Snatch, he almost loses his Brad Pittness.
Good
like
call. Yes.
You almost lose him because he's so into it, right? And that, to me, that's a credit. We got everything after this with Brad. We got a Fight Club after this. We got Benjamin Button after this, and it's like he was really starting to show himself, as opposed to the other one he did with where he plays Death. I thought that. Nice try, Brad. Nice try. Keep trying, Brad. But,
Meet Joe Black.
Yeah. It was. I get what they were trying to do, and he did a pretty admirable job as a young actor, but it just nah. I liked him better as the lawyer, which I guess is supposed to be the point.
Yeah, Stephen, was what you were saying. Your Barmy said like it was really hard to tell it's even him in the movie in Snatch.
Yep. And could you imagine a man that's practically a living fashion model, like being able to do that? That's what makes Tom Cruise's performance in Tropic Thunder so legendary. It's like I watched that whole movie and didn't realize it was Tom until I rewatched it. I was like, "Holy crap, that's Tom Cruise!
So good.
God bless him." So good.
Part of it is when you have a brand like Brad Pitt had that you're willing to toss it aside and try to hide it to do something completely different for probably no money compared to what he normally would make. Because Lock, Stock was 1.4 million to make, and Snatch was 10 million, so it's a bit more. But even still,
that's a low amount.
That's a huge increase though compared to 1.4 to 10. But still a low amount, Blair.
I'll bet you Brad took a pay cut to get into that film. I'll bet it. I'll bet money on it.
I remember the villain in that Bricktop. You remember that guy? The glasses and shit? He was incredible. I don't know who that guy is.
I can't see his face, though. I can't picture his face. I'll have to have a look now. Remember the name Bricktop, yeah.
Guy Ritchie has a new one coming out with, what's his name from Jarhead?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes, yeah. It's a military one. It looks interesting. I think it's called The Covenant. And he's got two new ones coming out. That one and something else. I think he's working on more of a gangster movie again. But The Covenant, it looks good. I like the trailer.
Who did The Gentleman? The one with Hugh Grant.
and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did he
that's
direct
that
that?
same vein, isn't it? The
Guy
same
Ritchie.
vein.
He either wrote it or directed it.
Yes, it's like a British gangster movie.
Yeah, like rogues, right? Not necessarily mafia, although they get tangled with some of them and some Russians as well. But rogues. You look at that lineup.
Then you ended up
Belicio.
making like King Arthur and that stuff. That was
No, God no.
a mistake.
Didn't he do a movie with his wife as well early on?
He did.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Who, Ritchie?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That's what he's working on right now.
Oh.
Which I believe is the SAS.
Yes. What's his name? Fucking Peter. Christopher Lee was actually one of those guys.
Right. And it's starring Henry Cavill. So
What, for real?
yeah. This movie. Yeah.
Nice.
And
Vinnie Jones, classic face.
Yeah. So I don't know. He so it looks like he got Guy Ritchie. He kind of got he married Madonna in 2002 or 2000. Made a movie with her. Yeah, you're right, which sucked. And then he kind of lost 6 years of his career because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
What a shame. So
Yeah.
now that I'm able to actually speak in real time, what is the problem with Rock and Rolla? What happened? What's the deal, Blair? We don't talk about rock and roll.
We don't talk about rock and roll on this. No, I watched it. I thought there was some good stuff in there, but it got too, what do you call it? He wasn't reined in. He just like let it all go with that.
Well, that's true. But we got Gerard Butler comes out of that, and Mark Strong. Ooh, boy.
Oh, yes,
What an
Mark Strong.
introduction.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out of the gate, and he's just been working like a madman ever since.
Sorry, Blair, I cut you off. Were you? Steve was asking you, what did you think of Rock and Roller? Do you rate it?
I don't know. It's been so long.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
me too.
Lost time. I have to rewatch it just to see.
Oh yeah, The Gentleman. That was him. And then he made The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which Henry Cavill as well, but I don't remember that one.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
What a
I like it,
waste!
Steven.
I don't know what the hell. It's mystifying. The whole Henry Cavill circumstance. It's just like this guy. Every time he works, he's hitting it out of the park. He's not a genius. I'm not saying that this guy is like Academy Award every time he steps on screen. That's not what I'm. This guy is magic, though. It's like he fills those shoes every single time. Men from U.N.C.L.E. was brilliant. It was so well executed, and the idea of doing spy movies as a period piece is the only way to go. That's what Mad Men should have taught us all. I don't understand. That was the big cue. Mad Men.
That's
was
what
a
they should do with
period
James
piece.
Bond, Stephen. They should
That's
go back.
right.
They should do a 1960s. Bond
We've got
spy
all the
movie.
CGI technology. We could be in Rome in 1962, in a heartbeat.
It seems like a group of people got it out for him. No matter he gets something, and then he's either going to be cucked, or they take it away.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
The Kingsman is fantastic, though,
Yes.
as Lady B was pointing out.
Mark Strong in that. Yeah, nice and Lady B. Zaxx was agreeing. Yeah. Knocked it out the park.
There's another series. I don't know what happened to that series. I mean,
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't we be in like the 5th or 6th sequel at this point? I mean, that had just as much legs and meat on it as any of the Fast and Furious things.
Have you watched all three?
Of what? Of
Kingsman.
the Kingsman?
I haven't finished the third one.
They're certainly good. There was diminishing returns because somebody was losing interest big time. But the property itself is such a brilliant concept and so well executed. The vibe of it.
I'm with you. I like them. I think the third one is even good. There's a twist in the third one you don't see coming, but it works, and the movie takes off from there. And I think it's they're all good. All three are good.
The second
It's
one
some of
lost
the
the plot,
best-
Zaxx. The second
A little
one,
bit.
halfway through, just went crazy, didn't
Pedro
it, Stephen?
Pascal
It went
ruins it.
over the top at the end.
For me, it's this execution of the comic book adaptation. It does it
Yeah.
so well. The cinematography is an absolute brilliant stroke to those films. Those continuous shots that are obviously edited and look super flat, so good. The tempo and the character of the action was so unique. You know, we could have used some of that in some of these Marvel and DC properties. We could have used more of that. I think that's what made Snyder so good. That's what made 300 so good.
Even Watchmen. I like Watchmen. People didn't like it. I liked the movie. The Hunter
I
movie.
did.
Yeah,
Me too.
More than
As a comic book fan.
admirable execution.
It was Matthew Vaughn, wasn't it, Kingsman, who was, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. He was a producer on that, so you got that connection with Guy Ritchie from going back then.
Right. Well, anybody remember Swingers?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's where we get them from, right? I mean,
Really?
the Vaughns all come from like that kind of origin.
From Swingers?
Was it? I thought that was Jon Favreau and
Vince
I
Vaughn.
forget his
Vince
name.
Vaughn,
Vince Vaughn.
yes.
Vince Vaughn.
But they're related,
Are they
aren't they? Or
related?
am I mistaken
Holy
about
shit.
that? Are they related?
I didn't know that.
No
I'm
idea.
pretty sure they're related. I mean, that's with such an incestuous industry. I doubt it.
I think.
But
either
Favreau
from-
coming out of there is hysterical too. You know,
Mhm.
going right into Iron Man from there, basically.
Yep. That movie probably still holds up, and it may cost nothing to make.
Yeah. Yeah. We need more of that. We need more of
do.
that. Less of these independent movies trying to be blockbusters and more of these independent movies trying to be old school classics.
I think that that's what Favreau has, where he could always walk away from Disney and he could make independent movies and
Absolutely.
without an issue, and he still has all that street cred with him. Like Chef was a movie he made that was relatively recent, and it was kind of a smaller movie, but it was actually quite good.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. He could do that whenever he wants.
Weird.
Because he has talent.
Guys, just thinking we were talking about the British gangster thing. Layer Cake, Matthew Vaughn. That's one of his earlier ones. We should do that one week. That was really good. I'd love to revisit that.
Isn't Bond in that? What's his name?
Yeah. Craig Daniels. It's funny, that you mentioned that, Zaxx. You're talking about Gray. You're saying like, yeah, we should watch that, and it's like it's weird. There was this completely unconscious moment in the back of my throat where I just like gagged it that Daniel Craig is in it, and I was just like, not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it.
Feeling it.
That's so strange that it's like that's how contaminated the IP got because of all of the nonsense. It's like. Even the movie Layer Cake, I'm just like, nah.
Really?
It's weird. No, I'm telling you, it's very unconscious. It's just, as soon as it's the overlap of all this cross pop culturalization nonsense that we have to experience.
Oh,
and there's no escape because, you come onto one of these streams or you're in the chat and all of this stuff is just being turned over and over and over. It's impossible to escape. So the IPs become contaminated.
I think I managed to kind of distance myself from that. I kind of get criticism for being, he's always optimistic or positive, but I can do that. I can I know what you're saying, Stephen. It's like Daniel Craig, what happened to Bond? It's a nightmare. But I can still go back and watch an earlier movie with somebody like that in and this is great. It doesn't spoil it for me.
Yeah, it's unconscious.
Crazy, right?
It's
I like
unconscious.
We love that about you, though, Gray. That's what people like, is that you are positive and you don't shine up a turd for people. You just, if you like something, you plainly like it, which is all people really want. It's just sincerity, really.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we don't think, bloody shill, but because I'm not, because I'll call it out if it's crap, but maybe I'm more forgiving than some people. Maybe that's what it is.
Didn't Clive Owen do some British gangster movies too back in the day?
Yes.
Ooh, that's worth looking into.
What was the one called? Aces? Something Aces?
Smoking Aces? Was he in
Smoking
that?
Aces.
That was a great movie. I don't remember.
He's another one that I thought was really going to explode. He's got such a vibe to him, man.
Especially with the
after
Bourne
Sin
movies.
City.
Yes.
Stephen, we did Children of Men a few weeks ago, didn't we? Children of Men, he's awesome in that.
There's another one, and it's I don't know what it is. Maybe it's nothing to do with the industry, and it's more to do with just he's discovered something else. He's doing acting on stage, and he's got a family now, and maybe they opened a restaurant or a bar, whatever. He's like life just happened to him, which happens to a lot of celebrities, and people go, "Oh, whatever happened to him?" It's like, life.
Have you guys seen Gosford Park?
Happy.
He's in that, and it's amazing. It's 2002.
Yes.
It's one of his early performances. It's like a Downton Abbey, but a really good version by Robert Altman. He directed it. Gosford Park. Clive Owen just like blows your mind.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, nice.
Because
recommendations, Zaxx.
The camera never stops moving. It's always slightly going. And you see that clear definition between the people upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about it. You really do see that. Maggie Smith's in it. Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren's amazing in it too. Yeah.
Who's that? The McDonald girl from Trainspotting?
Kelly MacDonald.
Yep.
Woohoo.
I'm gonna. Have you gentlemen seen Amelie recently?
Not recently, no.
Not recently.
That's another one that's got that almost cartoonish, right out of a European comic book kind of feel to it, just because of the way it stacks up, and the characters are so bizarre that they look illustrated.
Speaking of comics, let's just for a second here consider that we're talking about these movies like 300 and Watchmen and Amelie, which you're correct, it does remind me of that. But we have these giant companies with nothing but money making comic book movies who can't just take a comic book and translate it to the screen. It's already storyboarded for you. Just take this series the way it's written, take it and just shoot it, because that's what Zack Snyder did for 300. It's what he did for Watchmen. It's what works. It works every time because
that's what Rodriguez did for Sin City.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. This is not hard. And the fact that we're having to go back to Amelie to think of a good version of it when they're making a new Marvel property every month, and they all are garbage, and they don't follow. They don't just not take characters from the comics or take them and change them, but they just shoot the panel. Find a good story, shoot the panel.
I'm gonna offer a possible theory, and Gray and Blair know me well enough to know that this could get dangerous. So stop me if I go a little crazy.
Go for it, man.
But these young people that they're getting to direct these movies, they're ambitious, right? They had a vision, and there's this old trope of the last time your wife is allowed to remodel the house, she's going to go all out, right? Like you're about to retire, but you're going to remodel the house one last time into your retirement, right? And she's taken a plane to Europe to buy tiles, right? She's moving to Mexico to make clay tiles for the kitchen backsplash, off the hook, like totally insane, budget out of control. And I think that that's what's going on with these Marvel movies, is that you get these young people that want to make their mark in the world, and they're going to have to do it with this Marvel property. They're not interested in the material. They don't know anything about it. They really don't care. They're going to put their mark on it, even if it destroys the property. Like, they don't care, right? It's like somebody's trying to make Ben-Hur, but it's an Ant-Man movie. It's like...
Well, they don't even... The directors have no power, even. The directors are cast like the actors.
Yes.
Because they fill a checkbox.
Everybody's pulling in multiple directions at once. Like the producers, the directors, the art director, the cinematographer, the costume guy. Everybody's just trying to get their own mark on it, and that's what it's, this chop suey mess.
Well, Ginger's not here, but I have so much respect and admiration for artists and people who can create like the comic book. And you think about how long it takes to draw a comic panel, and I've heard it's like about a day per page to draw it. Yeah. But the concept on top of that, the writing that goes into it, the idea of what do we draw here, what's important to show, and why. Like, these are not just flighty thoughts. This is all planned out, way more than whatever that is they do for these movies, where they they show up with no script yet, even completed, and they start shooting, and they have the action sequences already filmed somewhere else, and they're going to insert you in. It's like,
it's insane.
Somebody has put so much thought and love and effort into drawing those panels, and you're just like, yeah, well, we're going to take this one, we're going to make it a girl and whatever. We have these scenes, like, someone really like put their life into this, and it's like, yeah, we'll take this little bit of it, but it only works when it's kept together in that format, which is why you want that property in the first place.
Yeah,
Can you imagine the person who created MODOK? If they're still alive, if they saw that fucking abomination, oh my God, I would disavow all of that if I,
Two movies that really did it for me in the last like 20 years, post millennium, right? Speed Racer and Battle Angel, Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
That was like the last time you saw anybody with any sort of passion, faults attached to the films themselves, but they were trying really hard to make it look like it was supposed to look and act like it was supposed to act. I mean, just the character portrayals in Alita are so dead on for me. I mean, I was in love with that anime back in the day, but yeah, can you imagine this guy makes this fantastic character for Marvel Comics and like that's how they're portrayed on screen? It must have blown the family's mind.
It's like the Eternals, guys. The Eternals, which I couldn't even finish. Jack Kirby, they should have filmed it like Jack Kirby drew the Eternals. The crazy Kirby crackle, the colourfulness of it. It's so good. I think he drew this Jack Kirby, didn't he? This design of MODOK. But yeah, crazy.
Like Kirby, yeah.
God.
I've Speed Racer. I've heard people love it because it's so true to the source material. I think it was Lofty was saying that once, that it's that's why he loves that so much. It's not just that the movie is really good. It's more that it sticks so true. But
it's that it exists at all.
These characters work like MODOK is. The Spy Kids did it better somehow.
Yes.
But he doesn't. He only works within that setting that he was created for, not whatever it was they were. I haven't seen Ant-Man. I'm not going to see Ant-Man.
Yeah, me neither.
So
God no.
The Spy Kids, Rodriguez, man, that was absolute gold. I love that franchise with all of its faults as it went into the future. I don't care, man. Those kids were badass. They fell through consequences. They learned lessons. Their parents respected them, and their parents weren't idiots. They were actually capable people too, like in The Incredibles. It was such a solid franchise. It was a great cross-pollination of like America versus Mexico. I mean, that whole Latino angle too was like, it was solid gold. The whole friggin' thing was so good. And it was Saturday morning cartoon levels of special effects. That's all it needed.
Yeah.
It was the perfect melding of that. It was for kids, but also for adults. And you could all enjoy it together. There's not much of that anymore. And
it didn't treat the adults like kids, and it didn't treat the kids like adults. It treated the kids like adults. It's like, I miss that so much. I don't know why.
Anyone can watch those still. And they hold up, and I'm not like most of the writing now for adults it's usually written like their kids level, and depending on the gender of the kid, that's how they're written. And you can't just sit back and enjoy it. You really have to reach to try to find something to like about it, which is, one of the harder things now. We don't want to hate things, but you really have to start looking around to find stuff to like.
Yeah, exactly. You're excited about maybe one movie coming up, versus the entire summer lineup, like you used to,
It used to be a murderer's row this summer.
Yeah, it was like, I'm going to see this. And I was like, I'm not seeing shit. I might see something in Christmas time or something, or Halloween, but.
Well, and how many of them are sequels? Like John Wick 4, I want to see that, but it's John Wick and it's 4. I want to see Extraction 2, but it's a 2.
Sequel.
It's another sequel. Yeah. I want to see Sisu, which is what I'm excited about, which is new. And hi, Trip. I see you there. Thanks for coming, Trip.
Yes, that looks good.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm sorry. I know Dunkirk and All Quiet on the Western Front are considered to be originals. One of them is a remake. Actually, both of them are kind of remakes, sort of, maybe a little bit. But aren't all World War II flicks sequels to World War II flicks? I mean, for crying out loud, isn't that... I mean, seriously, it's like the same guys, the same battles, the same tropes, the same costumes, the same weapons. I mean, it is, right?
It's true.
Yeah,
and sequel to the war itself. It's already written for you.
It's already written. It's like the Titanic. It's basically the same scripting model. We know what's going to happen, but we're interested in those kids. What's going to happen to those kids?
I've been stuck in the Irwin Allen disaster movies for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I love disaster porn. I love that.
Wow. Not seen those in years, Blair.
Oh, you should check out Towering Inferno. It's an absolute American classic.
And Poseidon Adventure. You know, they're all the
Poseidon. I remember them. Yeah.
There's always, you know,
just the Rock in
Hackman
that.
is an action hero. Those were the days, baby.
Yeah, Gene Hackman's in Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Rock.
Oh, man. Those were just
what
guys. They were just guys in a horrible position, and they just buckled up and just, you know, stiff upper lip and moving forward. Okay, we're moving forward. We're going to save all these people. They were just regular dudes. They weren't like packing muscles with their face and their eyebrows all clean and trimmed. It's like, Christ's sake, man. These pretty boys that we get in action movies now. It's like, really? For real? But the
Looking
women
pretty
are
handsome
allowed
there in your
to.
avatar, Stephen Ransom. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess,
really.
but, you know.
Stephen, it's like whenever I stream when Zaxx comes on a stream, like I always feel like, oh Jesus, you know, really inferior. Just like a little scarecrow of a guy. Zaxx shows up.
He's got an AI making his shoulders look that glorious.
I'm here for you, great.
A camera trick.
Trip, what do you think, Trip? It's true, right? Look at Zaxx. Come on, man. Unbelievable.
It's a trick of the camera. And Gray, you wear a turtleneck all the time. It's like, it's hard to look jacked with a turtleneck on.
Trying to go Timothy Dalton-esque, yeah.
Like a spy, yeah. But you're taller than me.
But guys, going back to very briefly, I'm going to go solo for a sec. This is not Eternals. This is Jack Kirby's New God. So it's basically the Eternals for DC. Just check some of this out. There we go. Wouldn't you much rather see, you know, this kind of thing on screen than the drab, faded, pastel-y colours of the Eternals that we got? Look at this. Jack Kirby, you know, he must be rolling in his grave, Stephen. What do you reckon when he saw what they put on screen?
I remember that one moment. Guys, you're in the theater and you're watching Avengers, the robot guy is like the big issue. It's the second Avengers movie.
Ultron.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That shot where the Avengers come across screen and it's like the Hulk and Captain America's on the motorcycle and it's that layered shot of all of them like in an action pose and it freezes for a moment. It's like, where is that? You know, where is that anymore? I mean, is RRR the only one who's going to pick up the ball and run with it? I mean, seriously. I just recently watched a bunch of people watch that movie for the first time, and it's like, you know, some of the action sequences are just blowing the socks out of the water. It's like we haven't even come close to that level of realism while being hyper action at the same time. I don't get it. I really thought, I mean, dude, when I was born, 2001 was in the theater. Right? And then Star Wars happened, right?
Oh my God.
And then the 80s happened. And then the 90s happened. So I'm like standing here in like 2015 going, what the hell's going on? And then it got worse, right? It's
Yes.
I mean, what the hell? Planet of the Apes? And like we can't even achieve that on television anymore. It's like I'm sorry. And those Planet of the Apes movies, wet as work on those Planet of the Apes movies. I thought for real we're going to see some solid science fiction, but no, we can't have that.
What has happened, Stephen? Do you think does it come down to the basic cost cutting? Does it come down to that? Is it overwork? Is it they don't have enough time to put these, gorgeous effects on screen anymore? What's caused it?
What we're seeing, Gray, and I think that this is the problem, and we keep talking about it, but we don't make it the subject of the conversation, is that cinema is going the way of Henry Ford and manufacturing Model Ts. And that's what the volume is trying to do. That's what the casting choices are trying to do. That's what the homogenous desert in the background of every damn science fiction movie in the last 10 years is trying to do.
Be careful, Stephen. Zaxx is a big fan of the volume. Just want to make that clear.
I mean, we actually saw Dread on screens. And what year was that? 2015, 2012 or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dread was a live action daytime, full-blown science fiction that actually worked.
I love that.
That
movie.
motorcycle chase in the beginning of the movie, it's like I'd never seen anything like that before. Never
So underrated.
like it.
I heard it was the marketing. They blew it for some reason. The marketing, it just did not get picked up, did it? It did not take
It's a
off
waste.
at all.
There should. That's another one that should be in franchise format for like the last 10 years, 12 years, easily. Since then, we should have seen at least 2 more. And a television show. I don't get it. I mean, and then Daredevil happens on Netflix.
Yes. Oh my God.
And we never see that level of action ever again. Frank Miller must have been so proud to watch that show. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So I don't know. It's like I don't know.
And then next time you see him is on She-Hulk. What the fuck?
Well, at least they didn't have the balls to put him in the red costume.
Oh, the walk of shame on She-Hulk. Oh my God.
There is a walk of shame for a man. Let's just get this straight.
Right.
That was the stupidest thing ever.
Lena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're
Lena Headey
you're
was
right.
awesome.
Lena, she was awesome in Dread. They made a bad, proper villain for a woman playing a villain, and she was really good in it. Where are the
She's
female villains
another
now?
one. How many films has she been in? I mean, she's been
lot.
all over the place, and she's hardly recognizable one property to the next, too. Which is, I mean, am I thinking of the same woman? That's the same woman that played the Queen of Sparta, right? Isn't this the same actress?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Cersei
quite
Lannister.
chameleon-like for such a good-looking woman.
Cersei Lannister, yeah. Wasn't she Connor in
Sarah
the
Connor.
Chronicles? Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, nice one, Blair. Yeah, I'd forgotten that role.
That show should have had so much more legs. I don't know what the heck. Who pulled the carpet out from underneath that one? That was such
It
a
was a
great
good show. I
TV
agree.
show.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I agree. It should have had a longer life. Whatever.
And it had the ingredients that 2023 wants too, and it was done in a way that everyone could watch it and enjoy it. I don't know. They really screwed that one up. But
Yeah, and she's a real potent gal. The young lady from the Firefly series. I like her a lot. I think she's got a really nice, but whatever. I don't know.
Summer Glau,
actor-
that's her name.
Her acting abilities are great, but her ass is incredible. So
What show should we not have mentioned?
I think when we're talking about She-Hulk, the Daredevil walk of shame on She-Hulk, God, that was terrible. But there are people like, listen, guys, I watch a lot of comic book, live streams, podcasts, and some people who I really respect who review comics well. They love She-Hulk, and they love what else? What's Miss Marvel and stuff like that. The Disney Plus series. I'm like, oh man, how am I missing something? How can you say that is good? They'll say, oh, it's very meta, it's very clever, it's like the comic book.
I think that there's a lot of people that have convinced themselves that it's all right can now be translated into it's great.
It's so. It's amazing.
I just unsubbed from Critical Drinker today. I was just like, this whole Picard thing is just really leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. It's just him and Dave Cullen, and it's like just to drop some names. Sorry, but
you go away now. You went away now, Stephen.
Some of these bigger guys, I think, are just playing the game out. They're just playing the game out.
Well, isn't that guy the guy who did Picard? Isn't he gonna be on Neurotic?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going down, and I think it's smart. I believe me. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being smart. Okay, survival
No.
supersedes rationality sometimes.
I think the
Great
Drinker's a
comment.
different animal though.
Trip
because
as well.
he was-
Sorry, guys. Great
he
comment by
was-
Trip.
Oh, what's that?
I just don't think they have the frame of reference like we do. It's
Oh,
going
yeah.
back to the young people, clueless people who are like running whatever at the moment. But
Yeah.
sorry, to interrupt.
No, I was gonna say that for Drinker, like he was already an author before he got into the YouTubing stuff.
Right.
So
Right,
he's
yeah.
a little bit different than everyone else who just does YouTube to YouTube. He does YouTube to help support his other projects that he
Yeah,
was
he said-
already doing.
He was a creator before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, did you
he's
see
probably
the,
just got crazy energy and has, he's just like, he can't sit still for a second. He's got to be doing something. I could see that about him. And
see
that's
that
a
one,
part of people of excellence that, most people don't get. Like some of these big YouTubers they're almost another breed. They're built differently than most people. They've got so much ambition behind them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Blair, go
Did
ahead.
you see that? That I can't remember what his name is. The anarchist or the ultimate atheist or something was totally shit talking on Critical Drinker today,
No.
No.
saying he does like 1% good stuff, the rest is crap. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
I was just
What,
watching.
as far as
saying on-
drinkers content? That's
Yeah.
madness. That's total madness. And when I
He's
say
no-
I unsub just because I just don't want a part of my algorithm anymore. I just don't want that whole neck of the woods part of my algorithm anymore. I'm focused on some younger groups of people that are coming up the way. I mean, you two, are just, you've done it. It's Gray and Zaxx, Blair, you're doing it too. But, the Cannolis, Abomination AJ and Left Eye. I mean, there's some new kids coming up the block that have got some very fresh ideas, and they're coming at it from the same angle we are, but they've got something going. They've got the whole family thing going on. You got Copa in there, and yeah, it's great. There's some new people, and I'm focusing a lot on that. Snowdub and Floral Under a Rock, and a lot of other guys. T-shirt Historian. There's a lot of guys out there doing it.
Great channels.
I want to roll all the way back because this is a guy who's done a lot of good stuff and he doesn't get considered. No one ever thinks about this guy, but he wrote 28 Days Later. He wrote Sunshine. He wrote Dread, which is where I'm coming back to this from. He wrote Ex Machina, Annihilation, the show Devs, and Alex Garland. And no one thinks about him as being a top guy, but he has, and Devil May Cry, I wrote a bunch of those games too. But he's a guy who can, except Man I haven't watched. I've heard not so good things about that one, but otherwise everything he makes is worth watching. And but yet you never hear about him, and he's never sold as a top line guy for why you'd go watch a movie or to get something made. But he's a guy who, when he makes something or he writes something, especially writes something, it's always really good.
Well, he was an author first, wasn't he? He was an author first. He wrote The Beach, kind of broke out. The Book of the Beach, and then he wrote oh my god, what's that one called? The Tesseract. If you ever get a chance to read that, it's an amazing book. The Tesseract.
I haven't read that one.
Script Doctor was talking to him the other day because somebody asked him about who do you think are the top writers in Hollywood, and that was like the only one that could tell him off his head.
It's Sunshine. Like if you've never seen Sunshine,
awesome sci-fi movie.
Great sci-fi movie, and it's one that just gets kind of forgotten. And obviously 28 Days Later, I don't need to sell people on, I don't think at this point. But it's just it's a home run after home run essentially on his credits.
He got a lot of criticism, Zaxx, for Annihilation. What did you guys, have you seen that? What did you guys think of that?
I'm not actually familiar with this gentleman's catalog. I'm familiar with it from a step back. Like, I know what you're talking about when you say 28 Days. I know what you're talking about when you say Sunshine, right? I've seen enough reviews and I watched enough channels watch them, from the get-go. But I know their impact on it. 28 Days Later is just like legendary at this point. And of course, we get, Scarecrow from there, right? Don't we?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy, yep.
Yeah.
He was in 28 Days Later, and then he was also in Sunshine. Annihilation was the Natalie Portman movie, but it was really colored for me because it was an interesting story enough, but it It's got Tessa Thompson in it. That's kind of a.
Oh,
It
Jesus.
never gelled.
It's a boner killer.
The
It
plot
doesn't
doesn't
gel.
gel.
Is that the one where they go into like the weird?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a zone.
that's all you need to say, Blair. You got it. The Area
Yeah.
X. It's based on a really short novel by Jeff Vandermeer, who writes kind of weird fiction. Yeah, and it's a good short story, but it just didn't work. I thought. on the
I
screen.
think if you check the timing, there's probably some correlating green lighting going on with the green lighting of Arrival. I think that Arrival does a better job at what
Right.
that was trying to do. Would be this kind of Solaris, existential, cosmic horror kind of thing
Oh,
going
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Where Arrival is so gentle about it that the existential crisis is kind of like mellow, but it's there. It's there all right and sharp too, but it's still pretty mellow in comparison. Arrival is a brilliant science fiction film, absolutely gorgeous.
Very good.
I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Devs is a great sci-fi show if you have a chance to watch it. I really enjoyed that one. But then, yeah, so the thing about Annihilation, one of the things that's with it that I do enjoy is that was the year that Natalie Portman wore the dress to the Oscars that had the names of all the female directors who weren't nominated.
Oh God.
And that was the same year that she's the producer of this movie, and as the writer and director, she hired a dude. But yet
She only hires dudes.
Yes.
Well
but
done,
yet
Natalie. Well done.
That's proof. That's totally proof right there. I keep saying that this whole thing with celebrities, we really shouldn't be too hard on them, except as human beings to human beings. Like, dude, really? Come on.
Yeah, right.
We're people too here, watching your damn movies, paying all this damn money. But it's almost like an OnlyFans thing. I mean, serious. You got to imagine that the dressmaker insisted on it, maybe made the dress for her, like because she was rude. Who knows what politics were going on with the creation of the dress and her being forced to wear it? Like, who knows? Like, to greenlight her next project, she wasn't going to get a job unless she wore that dress. I mean, that's what's really going on in these things.
Could be,
I'm telling you, dude, firsthand. I've talked to these people firsthand, and it's like, it's weird. It gets so weird. Gift baskets change the course of lives. I'm not even joking. It's so strange.
It's good to see in the chat there's quite a lot of love for Annihilation. Your Barmy and Trip are both talking about it. So it's definitely worth a look, Stephen. If you get a chance, see what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I've seen enough of it to get the general gist. I think this non-linear storytelling thing is not an easy puzzle to solve. And I think Memento is a very interesting case study because it's just unique, and that's what makes it interesting. But if it happened a couple of steps down the road, it wouldn't be as interesting because it's not really executing. It's kind of like what we're criticizing Chris Nolan about right now with
right.
What was the other one that he just recently did? Tenet, I think, where it's like all kinds of time wonkiness going on, and it's not an easy thing to pull off. It's certainly not with a popcorn kind of pressure on it as well.
Fair enough.
Oh God, let's not.
Those
Tomorrow
things
War
need to be
Trips
independent.
Tomorrow War. Zaxx, you enjoyed that one, didn't you?
I don't hear. Joking. I mean, it was fine, but I don't hear anyone here saying that like holding up Tomorrow War as being a. But Trip is right.
Rewatch it, yeah.
But for me, Annihilation, it was the cast. Down to Oscar Isaac, who I don't mind, but I don't love, and I don't think he was great in that movie either.
He's hit and miss, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have, and he didn't have any weight. There's no gravitas to his character in that. Natalie Portman is always Natalie Portman to me. Like she's just Natalie Portman now. She's not an actress or her character. Jennifer Jason Leigh looked really haggard in that movie to me. I don't like Tessa Thompson at all. So it really dragged it down. The story may have been good, and yeah, you're right. People do get upset that it's not. There's no resolution, but still,
science fiction like that pisses me off when it isn't well executed. It's like, you know what? You didn't even try. Okay, none of these women look like they want to be holding a rifle. None of them look like they ever wanted to be holding a rifle. Every time they're on camera, I don't believe a damn word of it. Not a word. And that destroys the whole friggin' movie. They're supposed to be in danger, and I never feel like they are. And it's not just this one, it's a lot of these feature films. It's just, I don't believe it. You're well too groomed. It's like, where did you get your makeup done during the apocalypse? I'm sorry. It's like, what is going on here? It would be like Ripley wearing makeup. I'm sorry. It's like Ripley always looked like she was supposed to be there. Always.
But Trip in the chat. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it took me out of it. The cast, it did.
The thing about Tomorrow War, though, we were in the depths of being locked down. So anything that was even halfway decent was, gold. So that's why so many people liked it. I mean, yeah, it's not a good movie, but at the time, it was the best we could. It was the best we had, so we did what we could with it. Speaking of gift bags, Gray, yeah. What the hell?
I'm working on it, I guess. I think I saw that from Awesome One. He's asking like, Gray, where are your gift bags for the panel? No comment.
No, dude, I'm not even joking. Okay, let me just explain to you. I used to know this guy in town. We had gone to high school together, and when I moved out here, we got reconnected. But he went the Hollywood way, and I went construction man way, right? And just our two worlds never met again. But he got a basket once, right? That had 2 iPods. This is when iPods were brand new, by the way, when they first came out. He got 2 of them. He also got box sets of every new TV show coming out that season, like
no way
on DVD. And this was just a gift bag in hopes that this advertising firm would get his next DVD packaging job.
Oh, nice.
That's it. And when I asked him, I'm like, dude, you got 2 iPods. It's like, give me one. And he's like, nope, I'm going to sell it.
What?
Yeah. You see why, like, we never really reconnected after like this period in his life. It was just, it's weird. He would get stacks of DVDs that were samples, and he would trade them in at Blockbuster Video and buy a copy of like the latest video game without buying me one. Meanwhile, he got all of this for free, but he would expect me to buy one so we could play online. And I'm like, what really, dude? Like,
come on,
these
dude.
are the people working in the industry.
Yeah.
Okay. They're petty, malicious, and power happy. Not power hungry, power happy. Like, they're so charged to get like a thrill out of being powerful, even if it's just a petty little thing, like driving into somebody's parking spot, like that kind of thing.
It's a weird ecosystem where I guess the gift bag could be, your paycheck, I suppose. I don't know. Like, you only have one skill, and it's giving awards and receiving awards. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it's basically a bribe or something.
Yeah, it's
that's
a
what
garnish.
you hear about Stephen, isn't it? It's true,
It's a gratuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fried green tomatoes. I say tomato. That's for Dempsey. I know he's not watching, but he gets triggered when I say tomato.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Hey, KC Charlie Chats. The way to stay rich: never use your own money. It's good advice. It's good advice.
Exactly right.
And always look like you're spending more than you earn. Always look like you're spending more than you earn.
Yep.
That's the secret. Guys, this has been awesome. Should we go wrap things up in about 10? We've been going for 2 hours 20, so 2 hours 30 sounds awesome. So before we finish up, should we shout some things out they've got coming up? Go with Zaxx first, because Zaxx is so busy on YouTube. His shoulders, he can't stop them. Take it over the platform. It's amazing.
Tomorrow night on the Flaccid channel with we're doing Circle of Jerks. We have no plan for that, but that's kind of the plan of the show. 11:30 Central, and I had a couple of videos that did pretty well this week with Cameron Pasha. That one of them did really well. So he was a great guest too. He's really flexible too with what you want with what the topics are, and so it's been good to work with him a couple of times. I've been lucky, and yeah, I'll be with Flaccid, and then Monday we're doing premature ejection, and Wednesday I have no plan yet for my Wednesday show, but it'll be there at 9 Central this week.
Great. Yeah, I saw that video was getting some what you call it, some viewage, 3,000, 4,000, looking great, Zaxx. Going for it.
5K. Great.
Oh, 5K now. Yes. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. You can make maybe 50 cents off that. If
I haven't looked. I don't want to look. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Zaxx, that guest, he went... he changed the whole structure of the channel. I mean, you guys were talking about Star Wars one second, and all of a sudden it was like people are bringing out ancient books and like talismans were being, displayed. It's like, wow, this is just fantastic. It just turned into a whole different thing. I don't know if have you ever ventured into that before, that territory?
Just the previous time he was on, and that time I also had Nicole from Through the Veil was on too, and she does a lot of psychic card readings, and she does ghost hunting, so it was a cool combination to have them on together and talk about that. So I'm the one that veered it this time because he was pretty good with the Disney stuff, and that's probably the direction I should have kept it going if I considered it with clicks. But like I like talking about that stuff and getting into, and he really is
got into the
knowledgeable
religion of Star Wars for a second, and then it just slipped over into this other territory, and it was great.
Oh, so good. I love those kind of panels or those kind of conversations, Zaxx, that kind of they take on their own direction, don't they? So interesting, and he's a very interesting guy.
He started getting into Buddhism and everything else, and it was like this whole discussion that people were making book references in the chat. It was great. Lady Balefire was reading from scripture, and it was fantastic. It was awesome.
What a stream.
That was cool. Yeah, the chat was fantastic. It was hard for me to try to keep up, although it's nice when I have like Cameron and then Scott was on too, sporking, and so I can go do something else because they're going to be talking, and that's fine.
They can talk. Yeah. So good.
They can vape. Ramp.
That's right. Vape either.
Vamp and vape. Hey, let's do both.
Why not?
That's cool. So I was looking forward to those. Yeah. So good busy weekend. Blair, how about you? Are you going to be on any streams over the weekend?
Not over the weekend. Probably on the next Roman, the Empire show. I don't know what our topic's going to be yet, but
I think I just heard it was aliens. But I was over at the Cannolis, and they were talking about it. Are you going to? Are you not going to be? Yeah. Did you notice, Blair? That was the only channel I didn't mention. Yeah, I'm hanging out with all these new up and coming, and I never mentioned Roman of the Empire. Shame on me. Just absolute shame on me.
He's been around for years, though, Roman. He's an old fogey. No,
you'd be the first one to admit it if you could.
Roman's awesome. I always regret I can't join them because I'm working. It's daytime Friday for me. His Thursday night stream. So
that, and then on I think next week I'm going to be with Jacob Ironside. We're in Twilight Zone episode 3 and 4 of the original series.
Yeah. So Jacob's been killing it. Some of his up and coming month too is going to be fantastic. Just did that Rear Window stream, but
I watched that. That was really great.
Yeah, Jacob Ironside's got some good stuff going on.
He's a guy that I like to shout out because those streams are a lot of work. And it doesn't seem like it to someone who's watching, but man, to all those slides and to queue all that up, and it's a lot that goes into those. So like, we should try to support him as much as we can.
Yeah, because he lets us go. I mean, I was on the Rear Window panel, and Copa, myself, and Magatech Mags were just going off. But Jacob, good old Jake, he's just in the background. He's scrubbing away. He's got those slides moving. He'll bring up jokes, and then he'll interrupt us and be like, "Oh, I have a clip to show you guys." And he would show us the clip. And he keeps it moving. It's like it's really, really great. The conversation's like slightly going off the rails, but he keeps it chugging along. It's chill. It's very chill. He's a very chill dude.
Yeah, he is. Very laid back streams.
I'm just sorry about that. I want to share something before we finish. Stephen, how about you? I know you get around like the Beach Boys.
Yeah, it's I'm on standing on a little bit of rocky waters in Los Angeles right now, so I haven't been making too many promises just in case I have to move quickly. But I'm probably going to be with Roman this Thursday, so that should be fun. We'll see how that goes. And like I said, Jacob's got some stuff coming up. I think North by Northwest is first, and then he's got a Saturday morning thing going on where he's going to do the Rocketeer.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Middle of March. But yeah, this is it. I'm basically back to cheerleading because I just can't make too many promises these days. So
I'm glad you're back because you took a bit of a vacation there, which most people need to do, but you came back. So
yeah, I had some genuine bona fide psychopathic drama, and I needed to stop for 5 minutes and just be like, what the hell am I doing with myself?
Oh my God, that sounds bad, man.
Well, yeah, it was just
just guys, with you talking about the Cameron Pashar stream, I recently watched this. It's Mark Miller, Mark Miller, the comic book writer. He interviewed a British artist called Brendan McCarthy, and the first half of this stream is really interesting about comic books, but then it goes spiritual. It goes into all sorts of things, and it's one of the best, for me, one of the best, interviews, streams that I've seen in years. So I really recommend it if you get a chance. Miller Time, episode 13, Brendan McCarthy. Fascinating story. I say when it gets to spiritual stuff, I was just like, this is great. It's the kind of thing I want to keep listening to. So like you were saying, Stephen, about Zaxx's stream, Blair as well. We love these kind of things.
Yeah. Another one I could recommend is Miss Martin Muses. She's another one that's she did a couple of streams where she was like de-Romanizing exercise, or like I think what she called it was some clever combination of man-spreading or mansplaining, but Catholic-splaining, basically. Like, you people don't know about Catholicism? Let me teach you the ways of Catholicism. And she would just go into it. And she's just this charming, bubbly personality. Shelby Loves is another one that's...
Oh, yeah.
She is just popping. She's just so cool. At like somebody pointed a camera at the beatnik movement in the 50s, and there she was. I was like...
Yeah, right.
She's totally like that, right? Can you see her in some cafe in Brooklyn?
Step back for a bit.
Yeah,
I think.
She's taking a break,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay, that's been awesome. So, thank you so much for watching in the chat. It's been brilliant. Some amazing comments, some really good recommendations for movies and for things to watch. So that's been cool. And having Blair, Zaxx, Stephen coming in as well, talking about Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. What a great show. Thank you so much for watching. So yeah, should we close out? Here we go. We'll drop the closer.
Thanks.
What do I usually say? I can't remember, Zaxx. Oh yeah, matinee. Is it matinee? Matinee?
Yeah.
Matinee.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Matinee means like, see you later. Matinee.